changes in their starting 13. David Howe will go onto the wing and take the place of Marshall Chalk, who heads back to the bench. Michael Hodgson replaces Dane Tilse in the front row, and Chris Kaler takes the place of Tom Leroy-Lars, who will now also work from the bench. The coach is Matthew Elliott. Suit the Broncos. They'll get us underway. Darren Lockyer lost the kickoff down to the in-goal area of Canberra. Plenty of hang time on it. And it's Troy Thompson who will bring it back out, and they limit him to a minimal gain. He'll bring it back out to the 10-metre line. Good start for Brisbane. Here's Carney going to the left-hand side, giving it to Jason Croker, who works it up towards the 20. Wolford from dummy half is coming off the bench in recent times, but it's been back in the starting lineup in the last few games for the Raiders now, as he chose it one way. Of course, coming back from a shoulder injury he suffered, which kept him out of action for a couple of weeks. He's looked good since that time. Carney chopped down there, and a good tackle now. Moving it away from dummy half is Adam Moggan. The Raiders have done well to work it away from their own line after a good kick-off by Lockyer. Wolford to Carney. At the halfway line, he kicks on a deep one, taken by Brent Tate, who's back there playing on the right wing today, outside Justin Hodges, with Greg Eastwood playing on the left-hand side of the field with Tame Tupou outside him.
Yeah, kicking games are going to be very vital this afternoon by both sides. They need to find the grass. Interesting to see how the formation of the Broncos' defensive strategies have been set up this afternoon. They look as though they're playing Eastwood 4 in, even though he's been selected as a centre, and Berrigan is defending out at left centre.
Here's Webke working it up to the Broncos' 40-metre line. A good move, because Eastwood was exposed in the centres last time he played there. That was against South Sydney. Of course, that was the Rabbitohs' first win of just 2 in the season. Berrigan from dummy half, giving it to Perry, who had arthroscope on his knee some 4 weeks ago now, has missed this post-origin slump, but he's back today. I'm sure Darren Lockyer and the Broncos welcome his return, because his form before that time was pretty good. They work it down the left edge, the home team, through Michael Hodgson. Gets a chance to win the run on 13 today with Dane Tilse, relegated to Premier League. Now Thompson had Tongue looming up on his outside. Hodgson getting back there in the line, looking for more work. Wolford coming to the right-hand side to Phil Graham, who went straight through them. He has support and putting it down. A chance bombed by the Raiders. Chris Kaler was there. He was going to score untouched.
That's not a good sign for the Broncos. They have that against quality opposition.
It was something the Broncos were guilty of plenty of times last week against the Tigers up there in Brisbane, as they work it away from their own end. Costigan here getting the pass from Lockyer, will play it just outside the Broncos 30. Now he gets up rather slowly. Smith is struggling for the Raiders. Costigan may not be all that flash on his feet either now, as Webke works it up towards the halfway line. They'll play it to Berrigan in there at dummy half to go to Sivanasiva. What a 2006 season he's had for the Broncos, Queensland and also Australia. Berrigan gets out of dummy half quickly. They'll be keen to limit his chances in that position today, doing that. Hodges now wrapped up. Good battle on that left-hand side as well between he and Phil Graham this afternoon. Lockyer lofts a high bomb. Standing there, Shafovsky will have some pressure on him, and he puts it down. Perry was in his face as the ball came down, and the Broncos will get 6 more tackles here, 10 out from the Canberra line.
What a swing of momentum. The Raiders, they broke the Broncos with an exciting play, and a try was on the offering. They turned it over, and that might be just the piece of luck and the confidence that the Broncos were looking for at the end of their set. They put the ball high in the air, and Shafovsky drops it. Unusual by his standards. Here come the Broncos again.
Hodges with that strength, going to the line and almost getting to the try line as well. Wrapped up eventually there. Adrian Purtell was underneath him at the death. Now Lockyer showing it, going through, grabbed by Simon Wolford by the boot. Here's Costigan coming to Adam Mogg, who made a very good tackle. That was a try saver. Here's Berrigan now from dummy half, going back to Perry. He's got Lockyer outside him. He cuts him out to go to Tony Carroll, but there were numbers there for the Raiders. Hanging on was Tongue. Graham was there with the help of Todd Carney also. Hodges from dummy half will feed it back to Lockyer as they go wide to the left-hand side. A kick by Perry. Won't make it through the line. Jason Smith did well to shoulder Perry off the ball. That was okay in a contest for possession. And the Raiders have it here through David Howe.
There's a classic example there in that set of 6 where Troy Thompson was caught 3 plays in and Darren Lockyer was caught up around the play the ball area and looking at the ruck. They need Lockyer to be 2 passes wide to be spotting those weaknesses in the opposition defensive line. That hasn't been happening. When they play him as a first receiver, they don't get that from him. They don't get that in their game, the Broncos.
Here's Wolford. Smith, a short ball for Croker, who hung on to it. That was a feat in itself. It was bobbling around there, and he was entitled to knock it on, but he did well. Jason Smith to put some pressure here on Brent Tate, looking up into the sun. He had to fight it off and made a good catch in the end. A couple of moments for the back 3 at either end of the field. Schifofsky made a mistake to give the Broncos a chance. Brent Tate back out there on the wing this afternoon. Did very well on that occasion. Sivanasiva now working it forward to be stopped by Thompson and also Chris Kaler. Here's Thorne to Lockyer as they keep it alive to Costigan. A high tackle here made by Jason Smith. And they're up inside the 10 as well. There was some contact by Smith on Costigan, perhaps up around the neck region. The penalty was for
keep using your foot.
The defenders on the right-hand side being up inside the 10. Either way, they'll kick for line and come on the attack once again. Jason Smith seems to have recovered from that knock that he took in the opening couple of sets of 6. That would have had Matthew Elliott's heart in his mouth. Perry now to Sivanasiva as they'll take it from the halfway line here. 7 minutes gone, still no score in Canberra between the Raiders and the Broncos. Berrigan back to Webke. They're up very quickly to meet him. Getting up there was David Howe defending on this right-hand edge with Jason Smith at the moment defending on the right wing for the Raiders. Perhaps still trying to shake off the effects of that knock to the leg. Now Costigan fighting back to his feet. Berrigan goes to Perry. Here's Lockyer. He cuts out Carroll to give it to Boyd, but they came up quickly. Phil Graham, who is underrated defensively, came in to shut it down before it got to Hodges, who now bounces away from dummy half. Graham was called out of it by the referee, and now Croker and Tongue combined to send Justin Hodges back from where he came. Last play for Brisbane as Carroll goes to Lockyer. The bomb worked one time. They'll go with it again. Another high one here. Purtell was there, did a good job of it in the end, and Darren Lockyer getting some height on those kicks today.
Well, they're just floating up there. They're staying up in the air and they're just floating around. They're a back 3's nightmare with the amount of height that he's getting on it, and it floats away at the last moment. There's a good take there by Purtell.
Let's go downstairs to Greg Alexander.
Yeah, that slight breeze prior to kickoff has strengthened, and it really has turned into quite an advantage for the Broncos in this first half. You mentioned Darren Lockyer getting caught in at first receiver then, and look, you look at the Broncos' form over the last few weeks, scoring points has been a big problem. Hang on, Warren.
Here's a kick by Jason Smith to David Howe. Played at by Darius Boyd. That'll be a charge down, and it should be play on. No, says the referee.
He pushed forward, which makes it a knock on. No. He pushed forward, which makes it a knock on. It's not a charge down. You're right. No.
There's a fine line, of course, in that situation. It gives the Raiders possession once again with a full set of 6 from 40 out from the Broncos line. David Howe will play it here. Back to Carney. Here is Croker. Down at a couple of metres only. Stopped there by Lockyer and also Brad Thorne. Wolford. Delayed pass up the line. Hodgson taken high by Brad Thorne. And the Raiders were quick to alert the referee to the high contact. And as a result, they'll get a chance here to have a shot for goal and maybe make it 2 points to 0. Just kick it straight across the field. No gain at all. And they take it from the 10. In from the touchline, that is. Croker will play it for Canberra. Looking to open their account here this afternoon. Their first real attacking chance after they blew what was going to be a certain try back in the 3rd minute when Taylor put down a pass after Phil Graham made the bust. Here is Graham now, coming across the park, linking with Shafovsky, staying alive in the Perry tackle. Graham coming again. He's a danger. So is this man, Mogg, who drew and got it to David Howe, who was able to sneak his way under Greg Eastwood's tackle. And the Raiders finally hit the scoreboard to have a 4-0 lead.
Well, there was good ball movement from Canberra, and Phil Graham, he's a good player.
Wings away
Of times and see the Raiders throw the ball around, and that was quite obvious right from the start of the game. They're going to play a lateral game, use their speed men. Phil Graham, Adam Mogg, and David Howe almost blew it, didn't get down quick enough and almost got pushed touching goal. But just back to Brisbane's attack. 20 points they've scored in their last 3 matches. It's a different 6, 7 and 9 combination than last week to the Tigers, with Berrigan at hooker, Perry at halfback. But Lockyer's still got to get involved. He's got to be the man with the big play.
We'll see if he can when they get their next chance in attack. They almost got one there when Adrian Purtell almost knocked the ball on the first tackle. Here's Thompson, hit by Carolyn Webke, offloaded though to Wolford, and very quickly he found Michael Hodgson, who was almost able to get his arms free as well for another offload. Now Wolford weaving between the markers, goes to Alan Tung. They look sharp, don't they, the Raiders? There's a real spark about their work. Their passes are sticking and they're making big meters. Here's Shafovsky again going forward. He'll play it 40 out, and the Broncos backpedaling in defence down the field. Smith will put some pressure here on Darius Boyd. Plenty of green jumpers there, although they all hung off curiously and let Boyd take it uncontested.
That looked as though it lacked a little bit of communication there from Canberra. They put the ball up in the air. They all stayed on side for the chase. But I think they were all looking around for one another to see who was going to contest the football. And in the end, they just held off, waited till he took the football, and then were there to swamp him.
Berrigan playing it for Perry. Seven receiver is met there by Mogg and also Howe, and Jason Smith still defending on this right wing for Canberra. Here's Webke doing well off the pass from Costigan, then losing it in the tackle. It was stripped out though.
Two in there.
We'll see what the Broncos set up for in this next set of 6 after they kicked for line. There's the contact by Jason Smith. Mogg was in there also. Well, Shane Webke looked to just lose that ball with his right hand.
Yeah, well, Smith had touch of it with his hand, but I think it's a rule that needs to be looked at the end of the season.
Might have been a tough call against the Canberra Raiders. Here are the Broncos now, looking to respond to the David Howe try, which has given the locals a 4-0 lead. Thorne working it up just inside the Canberra 30-metre line. Berrigan will go to Perry. Here's Lockyer. A couple wide as he gives a flat ball. Good early ball to Costigan as well, who forced the issue and gave it to David Howe on just the 3rd tackle. And this is what happened last week against the Tigers. Wayne Bennett must be shaking his head watching this.
Well, they would have spoken about it, and they would have watched the video, and Wayne Bennett would have drilled it into the players. Early in tackle count, if we make half a break, go to the ground, quick play, the ball will build off the back of it. Don't be impatient with the football.
Now Graham to Croker as Canberra open up a chance on the left-hand side. Purtell coming away from the sideline. Will play it just outside the Brisbane 40. It's a different looking Canberra side to what you see, especially earlier in the season, but they've shown them liking to spread the ball. They did it against the Dragons a couple of weeks ago for a good win. Now Howe is under pressure. Jason Smith, though, got back there and now will stay alive and give it back to Mogg, and they'll go once again. What hands by Shafovsky. He weaves, holding it out there in front of him in one hand. He'll play it back at the halfway line. Here's Wolford to Croker. It's almost attack at all costs. What a kick for Graham coming through. He put pressure on Boyd, who was wrapped up there by Purtell. What attack from the Raiders.
I love the tactics by the Raiders, as long as they can control the football, because they won't get patient with the scoreboard not ticking over. But what it does, it makes the Broncos patient and impatient and tired. Because the Broncos are a team, when you start to throw it around, they want to match you. They get away from their game plan of going forward. And that was evidenced last weekend against the Tigers.
Just run by Shane Webke there, Laurie, to pick up some metres for the Broncos. They're in trouble once again inside their own 20. Sivanasiva follows that one to get them back to the halfway line.
Just a good fast game when you control the ball. Opens it up later in the half down the middle of the ruck against these big Broncos forwards.
Perry, his clearing kick down behind Adam Mogg, who is hoping it'll reach the dead ball line and won't. He's got Chafosky back there with him, and then Tupou came through and really put a shot on him as he made it back to the field of play. David Howe wrapping towards the centre of the park is cut down there, and a good tackle by Tony Carroll. And they've burnt up 2 tackles and they're barely in the field of play. Tongue diving into the tackle, might have been a surrender tackle, but he gets back to his feet to play it pretty quickly anyway. Now Carney going to the outside. Purtell coming inside Phil Graham on that particular play, but he was well picked off. Now Hodgson, and they'll play it here, 25 out from their own line. A kick into the breeze coming up from Todd Carney, who's kicking his very good. Now Darius Boyd took a real chance to let that bounce. He might have been worried about catching it and stepping over the line in the one motion. And letting it bounce, it could have easily gone for a 40-20.
And that was a good kick. Good kick by Todd Carney. The Broncos forwards are slow to get back there. This is where the Raiders can compress their defence a little bit, because the Broncos, when their big men are slow to get back, love to run from dummy half.
Michael Wayman on his feet, about to come on for the first time here today as Berrigan works it away from dummy half for the Broncos. Wayman might fancy his chances around the ruck area against some of these bigger, older Broncos forwards. Here's Berrigan going to Perry. He continues the bombing theme for Brisbane. This one goes straight to Purtell. It was off the side of the boot, and he's wrapped up Purtell by Hodges and also Lockyer. Here's Graham going to Chafosky. He looks pretty keen today, doesn't he? What a season he's had, what a career he's had here in Canberra. He, like plenty of others, with his speed and his footwork, I'd like to think he can create something around the middle of the park against the veterans today for the Broncos. Now Marshall Chalk is out there working it from dummy half. Perhaps thinking that the Broncos were up inside the 10. He ran it quickly and might have been hurt here in his first carry since coming on. Carney, an inside pass there for Croker. He'll play it here just outside the 30. Carney again, looking for the in-goal area. In behind Tupou. The bounce wasn't a kind one for the Raiders. And the winger will play it here inside his own 10, stopped by Jason Smith. Boyd from dummy half, works it away there, grabbed by Thompson and also Wolford. The Raiders have done well to limit the Broncos' attacking chances. They've had a couple of cracks at them inside the 20. Now they get another penalty though.
I keep talking to you, he's talking to you.
Again, they're up inside the 10 on this short side on the right-hand side of the field, and Clinton Chafosky would like to chat about it.
Yes, Clinton. What's happening? Adam Mogg? Yeah, I've had a chat to him. Toucher's had a chat to him. Second penalty against him. You need to work on him, okay? Otherwise they're going to continue.
Brent Taylor's well.
You worry about Adam Mogg, Clinton?
You see Adam Mogg not back the 10, coming across to get involved in the play. There was no doubt that he was offside. Chafosky not wasting the chance to remind the referee to perhaps to look at one of the players on the other side of the field for the opposition.
All good captains do that. Just a little word in the referee's ear. He may take it on board, he may not.
Berrigan out of dummy half to Brad Thornton. Good ball to Lockyer. Only Chafosky in front of him. He falls over though, trying to put a right foot step on the fullback. And he was grabbed by Carney and also Graham. Perry now. We go to Corey Parker, who's out there for the Broncos. He'll play at 10 metres out just to the side of the post. Berrigan again, running a long way to Thorne, who just crashed through some flimsy defence right in front of the post, and the Broncos in a moment will have a lead. Backed down the field, and as a result, they open fronts. Has no problems putting them in front. They lead 6 points to 4 as we go downstairs to Greek.
Well, the Raiders love a battle, and I think we're in for a beauty here this afternoon. They're not going to get Thornspoon running the ball hard, and that's something that the Broncos would like to see for a big man.
Chafosky's restart, let bounce by Darren Lockyer. An awkward one to take, and it's Thorne, the try scorer, who will bring it back out to beyond the 10-metre line for Brisbane. Play it here for Berrigan as they go down the short side to Tony Carroll. Stopped by Tongue, Croker, and also Purtell in there. The ball comes loose. Another penalty given away by the Raiders at around about the 20-metre line of the Brisbane Broncos.
Well, this is what hurting the Canberra Raiders. The Raiders giving away their penalties early in tackle counts inside the Broncos 30-metre zone. They get a kick to restart their play, and all of a sudden they're in the attacking zone straight away.
Simonasiva standing there in the tackle of Thompson and also Tunn. Berrigan to Lockyer, quick hands, getting up there and playing out the ball, knocking it back towards the Broncos line was Phil Graham. And that will be 6 more tackles. Good call by Gavin Badger. Hodges from dummy half. Quite often you see that sort of play result in a continuation of the tackle count, but there's no doubt that Graham played out the ball. Now a pass from Perry to Thorne was forward. Gee, they waste good field position here with 6 tackles up their sleeve. I saw one which was much more forward last night. Let go for a try for the Melbourne Storm on their first 4-pointer of the night against the Tigers. Here's Mogg off the back of the scrum win for Canberra, playing it right on top of the halfway line. Marshall Chalk is out there, can play out wide, can also shuffle into the back row as well, and you would figure that's where he'll be playing after coming off the bench here today. Now Thompson, stopped there by Berrigan with the help of Corey Parker for Brisbane. Wolford from dummy half is able to link up with Phil Graham in just the 3rd minute of the game. It should have resulted in a try for Canberra. Here's Hodgson now, driven backwards in a good tackle by Parker. 15 metres out. Can they get a repeat set of 6 here? Smith looking for exactly that, grubbering towards Hodges, who will circle and bring it out. And then if he beats a couple, there's real trouble for the Canberra Raiders because Schifofsky was up in the line, obviously. And there's nobody at home for Canberra as they all chase through. Brent Tate. Play it here for Berrigan, who only just got there in time to dummy half. Now Smith defending on the left-hand side of the field, making a tackle on Parker, and once again coming out of it, touching his face this time. He's been in the wars, the veteran, today. Tate takes it across the 30-metre line. Lockyer, it's a clearing kick down the middle of the park, a booming left boot as well. Will take a kind bounce for Brisbane. Purtell has to hurry back there. Lockyer leads the charge on the chase with Justin Hodges. Sam Thaiday, who was rested last week against the Tigers after suffering from a chest infection, about to come out there, and he will add something to this Broncos forward pack.
Well, you mentioned the fact that Smith was defending on the other side of the field. Already in today's contest, as he's getting taped up there, he's made 14 tackles. So the Broncos have obviously worked him over as a target, and Elliott just trying to give him a bit of a rest on the other side of the field. Withers running from dummy half. We are in the arm wrestle stage of this game, in which team is about to fold first. Good kick there by Todd Carney under pressure. Chase is coming through.
He picked out Brent Tate on the full, and Tate went straight away to Darius Boyd, who will be driven back towards his own 30-metre line. Here's Berrigan going to Tupou, who looks to link up with Tate and Hodges, but Hodges was still out there floating back on side. Perhaps he might be doing it tough in this unseasonably warm conditions here in Canberra today. Play it here back at the halfway line. Tom Leroyd Lars comes on for Troy Thompson, who gets a breather from Matthew Elite as Lockyer takes them on down that short side. Michael Wayman also out there now for Canberra in 17 as Perry takes it at first receiver to give it to Thaiday. Look at him bust tackles and link up with Eastwood as well before Smith came in to wrap him up. I'll play it there. Down the short side they go. They cut back to Perry, who will put a kick in. Chasing through. David Howe had some pressure on him. He went to the air from the field of play, and the Broncos will force a goal line dropout.
Yeah, shifting the ball.
Just 2 of them. They get one here. Schifofsky's dropout is a good one. To the halfway line, into a breeze as Corey Parker winds up and brings it back towards Alan Tongue. He hands it off to Lockyer now. He's got Tate there with him. Hodges also. And Smith, with the help of Purtell, will wrap him up. 35 away from the Canberra line where they begin this set of 6. Here's Tate now, stepping out of dummy half. Points it infield for a gain of about 8 or so metres. Berrigan Go past Parker to give it to Perry. Here's Boyd joining in, getting past one, intercepted though by Adam Mogg. Fireday is there, he won't be able to go with him, and against the run of play, the Raiders will resume the lead. Mogg takes an intercept and runs 70 metres. It looked promising for the Broncos as Boyd ghosted to the left-hand side, but Mogg got the ball and nobody was going to catch him.
Adam Mogg, been in terrific form for the Raiders.
This one will swing away to the left-hand side once again. 0 for 2 with the boot from difficult position. What a last season he's having in the NRL. Of course, the Raiders wanted to keep him after he signed to play in the UK Super League, and when they lost a couple of veterans, including Clinton Schifofsky himself, to rugby union, they changed their mind and said, Adam, we want to keep you. But he said, boys, I'm going to stick solid with my initial agreement, and I'm off to the Northern Hemisphere. Here's Michael Wayman bringing it out. We've got Fireday on one side for the Broncos and Wayman on the other side for the Raiders. And just watch these two youngsters go. They are of similar build, and they can be just demolishing with their running at times. Withers going to Tom Leroy Lars. Speaking of someone who can make a dent in the opposition defensive line, Leroy Lars can certainly do that. As Schifofsky cleans up the offload, which went to ground, and he's forced to play it here just inside his own 20-metre line. Here is the former Bronco, looking to cause some trouble for his old teammates today. Wayman met in a good tackle. Tony Carroll got to him. Here's Withers out there now working things from dummy half with Wolford back on the bench. Leroy Lars gets another run as Withers feeds it, this time to Carney from inside the 40 once more. He finds the sideline, but it will cross outside the Broncos 20. And he'll enjoy.
Played a lot more with more control than what they did last weekend. And the Raiders' completion rate in the first half against South Sydney was dreadful. And there you see 2 errors to the Raiders, 4 to the Broncos. And they've been playing some really good football, both teams. Looking for plenty of ball movement.
Berrigan from dummy half going to Brad Thorne, the lone try scorer for the Broncos. He'll play it here just on his own side of halfway. Here's Carroll now coming to Withers, who certainly hits above his weight in defence. Now Perry back to the short side. He comes away to Corey Parker, but they got to him quickly. Smith wrapping him up before dropping off on the tackle. And he was an easy prey for Purtell and also Croker. Last play for Brisbane. Pressure there on Perry. Flashing through the frame was Lincoln Withers. Now David Howe. Another good take. He took another one earlier in the game, which forced a goal line dropout. And now Schifofsky weaving and running away, coming to Lockyer, who had to make the tackle on him. Otherwise, it was fullback on fullback. Here's Withers now, getting out of dummy half. The crowd here in Canberra appealing for an offside penalty. None coming from the referee as Smith goes to the short side. A chance for Graham to show what he can do. Darren Lockyer once again getting there to make an effective tackle. Here's Leroy Lars winding up, coming to Fireday and Wicked and offloading. Came back to Withers, who popped the ball, and now Tung put his foot down. He dumps it out the back for Jason Smith. Schifofsky is there. Smith will put a kick in. A chance for David Howe. Tupou was also there and did sensationally to catch the ball and stay in the field of play.
Well, he was turned inside out then, Tame Tupou. He did a sensational job to come down with the football. Great awareness by Jason Smith. He saw the Tupou was in field. He tried to get the kick to David Howe, who held his width on the sideline. But here come the Broncos. Oh,
Purtell came up with the ball. It's play on. He'll get to the line and score for the Raiders off another intercept. Gavin Badger says that's okay. It looked as though he'd lost it after coming up with the snare, but he kept it off the grass. And again, the Raiders score when the Broncos had something building.
Well, this is the Broncos of 10 years ago, looking for quick shifts early in the tackle count inside their own 20-metre zone. And Purtell, lovely play. Lovely play. Getting his hands on the football, knocking it up, rebounding it, and then jumped up off the ground and had enough speed and strength to get across and score the try. There you can see Tate build a 2-on-1 with Hodges. He lost his footing, got inside Carroll. Thorne comes across, he slams it down.
He has done on the previous 2 conversion attempts. To give them an 8-point lead. The strike is a good one. The breeze holds it up. And his aim was true, and the Raiders, in what has been a very even contest, Greg, lead 14 points to 6.
Well, only minutes ago it was Boyd who almost could have put Eastwood away for a try. Adam Mock came up the intercept. That time it was Brent Tate. Great shift by the Broncos to Justin Hodges. Adrian Purtell comes up with the ball. Gee, it's a big defensive play. And haven't we got some great exponents of the intercept in our game? Most of the time denying a try to the opposition. That was the case in both of those plays by Mogg and Purtell.
2 crucial plays in perhaps the Canberra Raiders season. And came into this game with a 10-win, 10-loss record, a place in the top 8 waiting for them if they could win here against the Broncos today. And they've done it unconventionally. But they lead by 8 all the same. With less than 4 minutes remaining till half-time. Mogg will play it back for Withers, who has David Howell with him, and the Raiders' smaller men have done well at this end of the field. And here they go again, getting out of dummy half. 1 pass off the ruck plays, getting in behind the markers and the A defenders, and picking up big beaters as Carney rubbers a kick down to Tame Tupou. They bring it back midfield. Alan Tung gets down there and makes a very effective tackle. The leading tackler in the NRL as far as average per game is concerned, as the Broncos go to the right-hand side once again. Lockyer onto Tate. He is just non-stop, Alan Tung. Carroll running it Withers. They'll be desperate to hang on here, Canberra, and not give away a penalty as they've done in so many sets at this end of the field in the first half, and give the Broncos one more chance close to the line just before the break. Thaiday playing it for Berrigan, getting out of dummy half. That's a danger zone. Good hands with the pass to Tupou. Was over his head. Corey Parker looking to shift it on very quickly, and once again the Broncos forced the issue when perhaps they didn't have to.
Well, their execution has been poor in the first 40 minutes, the Broncos. A lot of the time, their attacking players have been getting on the outside of the defending player and creating a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1, but the passes haven't been great. The Raiders have come up with 2 intercepts, and there they worked the numbers again down the short side, but the pass was too high for Tupou. Gives the Raiders one last opportunity before half-time with 2 minutes to go. Good run through Adam Mogg.
Picked up and taken to the ground, and a solid tackle as well. That one had to be made. It was made by Sean Berrigan. 30 metres away, Carney turns the ball back on the inside for Wayman, who runs head first into Sam Thaiday. Now set to the left-hand side, a sloppy play, the ball, a mistake by Wayman.
You play it when you can, mate.
Player who is trying to get away from the tackle. Brent Tate again, weaving on the outside. He looks dangerous out there. Coming one in off the wing with Hodges playing on the wing in the last 5 or so minutes, and Tate getting a bit more possession. It looks as though he's likely to cut the Raiders up on that side of the field. Here's Thorne, second man play for Perry to Lockyer with plenty on his outside. Parker now, again hanging on to it this time. He had Maguire and also Tupou with him, but he'll play it at the halfway line. Inside the final 60 seconds of this first half, Thaiday has it 45 metres away. A couple of plays left in this set of 6. Berrigan from dummy half. Now he'll link to Lockyer. Here's Thorne lining up, looking for an offload. He flings it out the back. It'll give the Raiders possession they weren't expecting. Now here's a chance. Withers basketballs it over the top to Croker. He wanted to offload it, but Thaiday did well to shut it down with the help of Webke. Another forced pass by the Broncos. It's the Raiders who will get one last crack at them. Here's Leroy last standing and just dispensing with defenders. It was Perry who came up and was given a big don't argue. Withers going to the left-hand side to give it to Smith. Back on the inside for Shafovsky. We've seen that combination so many times in the past. Now Graham got the offload. Look at him run! Look at him weave! Looking for one more. The ball goes to ground. Picked up and lost forward by Carney. It won't matter because there was a previous knock on and the Broncos hang on. The Raiders were looking. Shafovsky gets us underway. Kickoff will come down to Darren Lockyer. And it's Shane Webke who brings it back out. Taking a look across the Raiders' defensive line, it's notable, Laurie, that there is no Jason Smith out there for Canberra to begin this second half.
Well, he had a pretty heavy work rate in that first 40 minutes. He was the leading tackler for this Canberra side, 21 tackles. So I'm sure that Matthew Elliott has decided to rest him early in the contest and inject him back into the game after about 20 minutes of the game is to go. But look, he's just a icing on the cake for the Raiders, Jason Smith, when they get in good field position. He gets players in positions, builds pressure up on opposition teams so well. Be interesting to see how the Raiders go about their start to the second half.
Here's David Howe knocking the ball backwards and then staying in the field of play, but only just under pressure there from Casey Maguire and also Darren Lockyer. Here's Shafosky playing it back to Howe as Purtell comes in from the left-hand side to help them out. There is Jason Smith sitting on the bench, watching on, getting a breather at the moment after plenty of work, as you said, in that first period. Tongue playing it from Mogg as Leroy Lars here will be forced to play it just outside his own 20-metre line, and that will be 5 tackles gone, so they'll be kicking from deep inside their own territory. But they do have the strong boot of Todd Carney, who likes to drive the ball low, but does so very effectively here with his first kick. And Tupou is forced to pick it up almost back at his own 10-metre line, and that strong kick gets the Raiders out of some trouble. They'll need that and plenty more of it in this second half. Here's Tupou playing it at the 30-metre line as Perry goes to Berrigan, who comes in the run around to play it midway between the 30 and the 40-metre line. In fact, it was Darius Boyd out there as Lockyer now goes to Thaiday, who runs at Lincoln Withers, who had a handful with Brad Thorne on the previous set of 6. And he makes a better fist of this tackle on Thaiday. Berrigan going, turned out to Thorne. Play it back at the mid-strike. He'll spin it to the short side. I had visions of linking up with Shane Webke in Berrigan, but he took it himself after they got the timing wrong on the play, and now Hodges waits at dummy half. Last tackle for Brisbane. Lockyer putting a kick in again, down Howe's side of the field. This one will force him back into the in goal. It will just trickle across the touch and goal line, almost.
Howe messed around with the first kick.
Ready, mate.
Second kick, wanted it to go dead. He did that.
When you're ready,
the Raiders get a 20-metre restart. They can ill afford to drop off their intensity, Canberra. This Broncos side, riddled with origin and test experience. They're capable of scoring in quick succession, and they will always play to the 80th minute. Canberra have to match them in that department with the effort, enthusiasm and execution.
Adam Mogg will play it here for Shafosky. Waits at dummy half. Got a slow play the ball. They were able to wrap him up pretty quickly, but he still took them on. Webke was there with Fireday's help. Now Webke got a foot in there and gives away a penalty.
You run back through the ruck, mate, and you've kicked the ball.
Shane Webke might not be happy, but really the referee was given no option but to penalise the Broncos. Here's Webke getting up and then putting his foot on it. Well, he was caught out, slow to get off the ground as it turned out. And as a result, the Raiders will have it here from inside the Broncos 20. They lead by 8, and a crucial early set of 6 coming the way of the Raiders in the opening minutes of this second half. Marshall Chalk chopped down, 10 out from the line. Wolford gives it to Wayman, who gives it on to Leroy Lars, who ran it. Shane Webke, the old bull and the young bull. Here's Wolford now, going to Graham. Across the field he goes. They scored off this play in the first half. Shafosky got it on for Carney. And Canberra are running away to their 11th win of the season. What a play. What a start for the Green Machine.
Well, they scored a similar try to this against the Dragons a couple of weeks ago. We're off the scrum. They just take it into the numbers, and then they get the left centre, Phil Graham, involved. The play that the Raiders love to use.
They are 8 wins from 10 times they've led at half-time in 2006. The Broncos, 10 times they've been behind at half-time. They've only come from behind to win on 2 of those occasions. Shafosky makes it 20 points to 6. The Broncos struggling to score points once again here. They've combined for a total of 20 points in their last 3 games. And now here they are, Greg, down by 14.
Well, we spoke about the Melbourne side last night and how well drilled they are. Well, the same can be said about this Raiders outfit, isn't it? Involving their speed men, Graham and Mogg, going across the field. They're just too quick for the defenders. They can get on the outside, and then Clint Shafosky, great ball, able to suck in some defenders for an important try. But Todd Leroy-Lars has come up with a mistake.
Lost control there, Todd.
Off the kickoff, that's not what you want. He's dropped the ball, scrum feed to the Broncos.
After playing an important part in the lead-up to that try by Carney, and grabbed there by Webke. Not too many arguments from him after the referee's whistle blew, and so the Broncos get a chance to hit straight back and once again close the lead up to just 8.
Well, it's a good chance to see how Brisbane have been working on their game over the last couple of weeks and whether they can execute under pressure and be more patient with the football. We're about to find out.
I'll play it here, just inside the 20. Parker getting back to his feet as Berrigan goes to Perry. Now Lockyer looking one way, coming the other. Hodges trying to use his strength, but again Phil Graham getting up in his face and wrapping him up before he winds up. Now Lockyer cuts out Webke to go to Thaiday. Perry on to Darius Boyd, and Maguire with him. A pass to Tupou. Well tackled though by David Howe, who drags him into touch.
Good stuff by Canberra, good defensive play, good defensive system. On the left-hand side of the field, with Phil Graham and Purtell, they've tended to want to jam in. On the right side of the field, Mogg and Howe, they'll back their pace, so they tend to hang off a little bit. But all good sides in the competition, they're outside men. They've got the ability to slide, but also the ability to jam in and make good decisions.
Adam Mogg waiting for his chance once again. Oh, here's Wayman now, getting a shot from Webke, who's trying to put some big hits on some of these younger Canberra forwards. Here's Mogg getting out of dummy half, cutting back to that right-hand side where he was hit around the legs by Maguire. Wolfen now with some room to move from dummy half, giving it to Croker. Playing game 314 for the Canberra Raiders this afternoon. Now Wayman. Only Andrew Eddinghausen has played more games for the one club than that man Jason Croker. Carney's kick from just on his own side of halfway over the head of Tame Tupou, who's looking for the line again. Carney, the Broncos work it away from their own end. 9 minutes into this second half, the Raiders already advancing their score by 6. Friday will play it here for Berrigan. He has Carroll coming with him. Working from market, Tung was there in his face to help drag him to ground. Also there was Lincoln Withers. Two small men combining very well for the Raiders. Here's Lockyer arcing to that left-hand side, but again the speed of Mogg is able to stay with him and wrap him up. The two teammates from the Maroons Origin team this year, of course, victorious in Game 3 over New South Wales for the series winners. Parker plays it. They kick out of dummy half through Berrigan. We come down to Purtell, who takes it on the full and leading the charge there. Berrigan got to him, the first player to make contact, and with Thaiday they wrap him up inside the Raiders 20. Shafosky running to the right-hand side, ran out of support players, so had to straighten his run and picked up 10 good metres as a result. He's just been a marvel for Canberra. How will they replace him in the seasons to come?
They've got a youngster in the Premier League by the name of William Zillman. Scored 5 tries today. I know he plays halfback, but he's a great runner of the football. He's played plenty of fullback. Maybe he's the one.
Wolfen from dummy half to Carney, who's growing in confidence all the time in the NRL. Croker gives it away to Howe. It comes to Maguire, who chops him down 45 metres out from the Broncos line. Last play, and Wolford will kick out of dummy half. Boyd getting back there, watches it bounce off its point, and then Mogg coming down will make the first tackle, and they've done well. He got to Boyd to wrap him up 10 out from his own line, and they forced him to work it away from inside their own 20 as Tupou runs and then dispenses with Simon Wolford. He gave him a big fend and knocked the Canberra hooker and former captain to the ground.
Needs to do more of it. They've got some big outside men, the Broncos. They need to get in and get involved. They've got good leg speed, good leg drive. They just need something to click them into the action. Here you can see him pushing away from Simon Wolford.
Let it go! Adrian, last one!
Berrigan going to Perry from inside the 40. Not a great kick, but the bounce is an awkward one for David Howe. They keep kicking towards his wing. Lockyer once again, plenty of enthusiasm, leading the race downfield on the chase team to make the tackle on Howe. Chafosky out of dummy half. Withers waiting for it. Had Tongue with him. Now they go to the right-hand side. Carney to Mob to Croker. One more pass would have been handy. But Tame Tupou realised the urgency of the situation and came in to shut it down before they were able to reach David Howe. Here they go again. This time Tupou misses at a Mob. That might be costly. But Maguire is there with the help of Corey Parker, who gives the touch judge a gobful. He might have thought there was a mistake in the tackle there and knock on perhaps from the Canberra Raiders, and really took a real chance of being penalised by the touch judge for dissent. Now the high spiral bomb. Boyd standing underneath it. Nobody really got near it. Lockyer gets a deflection. It came off Phil Graham. He links up with Brent Tate, who was grabbed from behind in what could have been a try-saving tackle by the Raiders' Michael Hodgson. Here is Lockyer coming to the right-hand side. Hodges trying to get away from the tackle there of Marshall Chalk, and they'll be penalised for being up inside the 10.
Got a line up here, fellas, all offside. Nothing.
You don't know, you shouldn't get involved in that type of thing, should you?
No, not the way you were paddling. Here's Perry as the Broncos go on the attack. The Raiders perhaps minus a man for the rest of the game, you would imagine, as Berrigan goes to Lockyer. Here is Tony Carroll. We'll be sending you to medical school in the off-season. It'll be a 28-year course. Here's Berrigan to Lockyer now. Hodges looking to link up on this right-hand side. They're inside the Canberra 10. They bypass Parker's decoy run. Now Seven-a-Seaver in the middle of the park, looking to stay alive and get a pass back. He did so to Perry. Awkward ball. Boyd handled it pretty well. In the end, he did well also to stay in the field of play with the help of Tupou there. They need a result off a set of 6. It's been an unconvincing set so far. They've got one more play right here. They'll play it through Nick Kenny, who's out there now for the Broncos. Here's Perry grubbering at the line. They've got a drop out in the first set. This time, though, the ball doesn't reach the in-goal area, but Graham drops it. And they'll get 6 more tackles, but not in the fashion they were imagining.
Well, a poor set of 6 as Wayne Bennett had no plan. It was whoever wanted the football and just toss it around.
Here's Hodges running at Graham, who makes the first up tackle on his opposite man. Tate coming back to Parker in the shadows. They try to work it through Berrigan now, who's wrapped up there by Thompson, and also Chris Kaler, who's back out there for Canberra. Perry goes past Seven-a-Seaver to Lockyer. A 2-on-1 perhaps before Howe came in to make that tackle. A good one on Casey Maguire. Costigan to Lockyer. He gives it to Perry. He dumps it out the back, straight to the Canberra Raiders. Graham has it. Ankle tapped by Lockyer, and that certainly saved the try because nobody was going to catch Phil Graham. Chafosky out of dummy half, coming to the right-hand side, giving it to Adam Mogg. He beat the first up tackle of Perry. Lockyer sucking in the breath at the moment. Has got through a power of work this afternoon. Here is Howe now, 35 away from the Brisbane line. One more try here. We'll just about seal it for Canberra. Here's Croker. Working it down to within almost 20 of this Broncos line. Play number 5 to Carney, who tries them on. He almost split them as well. Hanging on, making a good tackle there was Corey Parker around the legs. Last play, Wolford rubbering for the in-goal area. Picked up by Brent Tate, who put the foot down straight away and did well to make it back to the field of play.
Good play by Brent Tate. He just got the football. He knew what his job was, and that was to get it into the field of play. The Broncos, a poor constructed set in the attacking zone. What have they got coming out of trouble for us?
Seven-a-Seaver took the carry, and Lincoln Withers racing up on the bigger man. And a real attempt at putting a shot on him. He certainly can hit Withers, and he's back there again. Here's Kenny now. Chris Kaler puts his shoulder into Nick Kenny, who's playing in just his second game in the NRL, and now we have another problem for the Raiders. Simon Wolford might have been concussed in the contact there with Kenny.
Well, he's certainly a bit around the middle before they use the ball to their halves. And there's just too much pressure being placed on Darren Lockyer in this football team. And obviously they recruited Michael Innes, and he was a big loss early in the season, having to get his knee reconstructed.
Lockyer trying to get something going for them, but there isn't really much doing for the Broncos, whose point-scoring drought continues here. One lone try so far today. It's been meagre pickings for them in this month after the State of Origin series. Here's Wolford now. Seems to be okay. Ball back on the inside for Kaler. The contact was solid by Kenny and also Carroll. Wolford. Back to the right they go. They've had some success today. Here's Carney again. He looks dangerous suddenly every time he gets the ball on that right-hand edge in this second half. Mogg will come back to Schifofsky. He puts it high in the air. Boyd can't get there. Lockyer standing underneath it. Batted backwards by the Raiders. Jason Smith, or rather, Chalk got the hand to it. Now Purtell got the grubber in. It will be too big though. Stay in this contest. 22 minutes remaining. They trail by 14. Sivanasiva take the first carry in this next set of 6. I'll work it down the right-hand side. Let's go downstairs to Greg, who has a report on Michael Hodgson.
Yeah, news not good for Michael Hodgson, who's been strong for the Raiders up front today. Dislocated his shoulder. The impact when he hit the ground there, landed on his elbow, dislocated his shoulder, so he won't be back today for the Raiders. Just on the crowd here, it's a good crowd. 13,137 here to see the Raiders look like get a victory.
Not quite the numbers they used to rack up, of course, in the old days when the Raiders took on the Broncos in the early to mid-90s, when both sides were the preeminent football teams of the time. Not a bad one, all the same, by recent standards when they battled for crowds here in Canberra. Berrigan passing behind Lockyer, under pressure straight away from Tung and also Wolford. It came on the last, and they turned it over fairly meekly again. They just can't build any pressure at this end of the field.
Well, it was a poor pass to Darren Lockyer on 5th play, and the Raiders players were aware of it. When they tackled Lockyer, both of them went over the football. They knew that Lockyer was going to try and get it away, and Costigan and Sivanasiva could find themselves in some trouble.
Yeah. We're going to put that tackle on report, fellas. I'm not sure which one was the main instigator. Let's not get involved in that situation.
Gavin Badger will take no chances with it. Neville Costigan, you would think, on report for his involvement down low. We'll see what the match reviewers make of that tomorrow. Here come the Raiders again, though. Wolford. They give it to Marshall Chalk. He works it forward to be stopped there by Carroll and also Tate. Here's Kaler. Going to Thompson, who comes to Darius Boyd. He can't stop him, and he's inches short of the line. In fact, the referee,
come back out,
of course, had been disqualified. Here's Tate now, off the back of the Broncos scrum. Line breaks, 8-3 to the Raiders to this point of the game, with less than 20 minutes remaining now. Costigan playing it back for Berrigan. Working out a dummy half. Looking to find half a gap. You're going to roll on with a fast play the ball. You've got to play the ball. But here's a penalty against the Raiders. Chris Kaler, the man penalised for hanging on there in the tackle.
I just thought it was a bad play the ball by Boyd. Broncos, they're certainly winning this battle, 6-3. I thought that was a bad play the ball. Sorry, not Boyd, it was Berrigan.
Off the back of it, the Broncos have it here, 30 away from the Raiders line. Kenny will play it to Berrigan. Here's Lockyer, comes to Parker, who, with the Raiders getting up quickly on this left-hand edge, cut back to the middle of the park. Now they'll go the other way. Berrigan, inside pass to Kenny. He's just outside the Raiders 10, but they've been very solid defensively on their own goal line today. 3 tackles to hang on for here. Here's Lockyer. A flat pass, a good pass as well to Corey Parker, who had Graham in trouble before Schifofsky came in to help him out. Hodges from dummy half to Lockyer. Gives us first ball to Sivanasiva. Well handled though. In fact, he lost it, and now Shapovsky picks it up and weaves away from the tackle of Kenny. He goes again. Cut down eventually by Greg Eastwood. Listen to this Raiders crowd give him a hand, and of course he earns a penalty as well. Now they're in raptures here in Canberra.
The crowd are certainly enjoying this. Petro Sivanasiva trying to offload the foot. Bosky, good run. Eastwood wouldn't allow him to get up and have a quick play the ball. May have come down with the forearm.
Graham scores in the corner. They've got too much speed and too much skill for the Broncos, and it's 24-6.
Well, someone tell Wayne Bennett they are in a slump. He can deny it. He can say it's not a slump at all.
I want you to ask him at the media conference.
Well,
go down there and front him, Laurie.
Well, will he front himself?
Here's Graham searching for the corner. With his footwork, he was always going to be too much of a handle, wasn't he, to get there and come up with a tackle on him.
Any second-man play worries the Brisbane Broncos. See them sliding across off their line.
Shapovsky from the sideline, looking for the breeze to help it back. It sneaks inside the right-hand uprights. It's 26-6. They are home today, Canberra, and they are perhaps within just one more win of sealing a berth in the 2006 finals.
Well, what they've got in their favour, they've got a bye. They've got another big game coming up next week at Campbelltown when they take on the Tigers, and then they have the bye. That's a 4-point game for the Raiders. And if they could win that, well, you would nearly think they're home and host.
Especially given the way the Cowboys and the Sharks are falling on their own sword. The Raiders will have 2 more wins than both those clubs, who will be outside the top 8 by around about 5:30 this evening. Here is Mogg, who will play it just inside his own 40-metre line. Wolford will go to Carney from inside the 40, looking for a 40-20. Had a good crack at it as well, but it just bent away from the sideline from him, and now Boyd is wrapped up as they get down there. There's a look about the Raiders here this afternoon as they've got on top of the Broncos. They have really upped the ante at this end of the field especially, and look to make some big contact and rattle some of these more experienced players they're up against. Maguire from dummy half, going to Parker. He gives an offload away to Maguire, then back to Lockyer. He hands it off to Carroll. Plenty of passing, and didn't pick up too many metres as a result.
Well, Warren, 2 weeks ago we were saying that the top 4, someone out of the top 4 will probably win the competition.
Forward pass here by the Broncos, and the Raiders will come at them again, Laurie, in just a moment from this scrum.
Now, after today's game, the Broncos and the Dragons, well, the Dragons are already outside the 4. The Broncos could well find themselves out of the 4. Manly are definitely in the 4. Is it a 2-horse race?
Well, that Broncos fan, he might think it is a 2-horse race between the Melbourne Storm and the Bulldogs. Sort of sums things up at the moment, doesn't it? Paul Kidd came here today looking for a morale-boosting win from his team, and instead he's watching the green machine really turn it on. Here's Adam Mogg, who'll play it just outside the 20. Wolford running a long way from dummy half. Oh, he met Tony Carroll, who gave him the quintessential don't argue. Tongue going to Thompson down the right-hand side. And dummy half again. Tongue loses the handle on it. It came away to Adam Mogg, but that'll be a knock-on against the Raiders.
He's lost it in the end anyway.
Play rapid-fire football. On the short side there was Alan Tongue. Shane Webke about to come back for his last stint, perhaps ever, obviously in Canberra. Had some big games over the years here. Retiring at the end of the season. We'll see whether it finishes with another finals appearance. The Broncos are no sure things to make the top 8. They failed to win another game this season, and there's every chance of that happening at the moment. And they may miss out on the top 8. They've got 11 wins. It'll be 9 losses after this game. It is amazing what's been happening to them after Origin Series in the last 5 or 6 seasons. Sivanasiva playing it. Back to Brent Tate. Working it out of dummy half. We're talking about their attack and how few points the Broncos have come up with recently. In round 18, 4 games ago against Melbourne, they scored 4 points. They scored 10 against the Cowboys in a losing effort, obviously. Just 6 last week to the Tigers, and they have only 6 on the board yet again here today against Canberra. The try line at the moment is a foreign object to them. Howe will play it for the Raiders. As Shafosky runs away from dummy half, and every time he searches to that right-hand side, the Broncos' urgency in defence is apparent because they know exactly what he can do. Here's Howe as they come back to the middle of the park to be stopped there by Parker and also Webke. Withers, no look pass out of dummy half and a good ball as well. Thompson will play it, getting back to his feet fairly slowly. Play number 5. Jason Smith is back out there now. Still with the tape around the head. He gets the clearing kick away from inside his own 40. It came. This will be a 40-20 to Canberra.
Jason Smith. Jason Smith. Cool as you want. Inside the 40. Places it down there. He gets a favourable bounce. Tupou was heading back. He took a right angles turn. They were all onside. They were ready to make the tackle. Tupou was hoping it was going to keep rolling towards his try line. Rolls over the sideline. And the Raiders get another great attacking opportunity to extend their lead. They're totally outplayed Brisbane.
That's out.
Here they are. And Marshall Chalk just 10 metres away from the Broncos line. Smith, delayed ball for Mogg, a flick out the back for David Howe, who gets his second try of the game. It's a rout. They are just carving up one of the big guns in the NRL who are sliding towards the bottom half of the top 8 in a hurry. A terrific play by the Raiders going to the right-hand side. Smith's ball was good to Mogg. His footwork got him on the outside of Berrigan, and then it was the Gidley flick pass.
Well, it's just a nice constructed play, and that's what the Raiders do well. They construct things. They work for a plan. Whereas the Broncos, it's just all off the top of their head. They don't know what's happening from one play to the next. Whereas Brisbane Raiders, they work. They know what's happening. Everyone's got a role. And they do it so well. A lovely little flick pass there by Adam Mogg. Who would have thought the Raiders, after being defeated by South Sydney, the bottom place team, last weekend, would come here and touch up the third place team.
And what a loss that's proving to be, because had they won last week, they'd be on 12 wins. They'd be home for a place in the finals.
They'd be in the 4.
Shafosky misses to the right-hand side. It won't matter because the score is 30 points to 6, and you're exactly right. They would have, if that was the case, more wins than every team in the NRL, bar the Melbourne Storm and the Bulldogs. And that's remarkable. Let's go downstairs to Greg.
Well, haven't they got a great ability to bounce back after a poor performance? They haven't had any great run of wins this season. They haven't had any great run of losses either. But whenever they put in a poor one, they always bounce back with a good one. They always seem to aim up against the sides that really challenge them. This was an important one for Canberra, obviously to keep their season alive, but also to bounce back after that loss to South Sydney. That would have been a real kick in the backside.
Here is Withers, out of dummy half. Go to the right-hand side, David Howe. 2 tries, and well, there's a real spring in the step there of Matthew Elliott on the sideline, isn't there? Working the gum over time. Got a look about him. Seaside has a look about them as well. Withers on the run around, got a great ball from Adrian Purtell. And again, the Broncos unlucky getting a touch, knocking the ball forward, and the Raiders will get 6 more tackles from this next scrum.
The Raiders too quick around the dummy half area. See, their big men, they're just too slow to react. And anyone with good footwork and good timing can get out there. And what the Raiders do well, they have people coming through the middle. When a dummy half runner takes off, they have people left and right pushing down the middle. It's a little bit reminiscent of the way that the Cowboys played at the start of the year against Broncos.
A similar scoreline as well. On that occasion, the Cowboys back in round 1 with that tactic beat the Broncos 36 points to 4. And here we are in Canberra. Plenty has happened from that point, of course. The Broncos have found winning form and lost it just as quickly, but the score is 30 points to 6 on this occasion. Webke wrapped up in the tackle, lashing out there at Troy Thompson as he got back to his feet. Now Friday working to that left-hand side, wrapped up by Adam Mogg. Here's Eastwood, who's been fairly quiet this afternoon, playing on that left-hand side of the field. Friday again will take it into Canberra territory. Berrigan waiting for it. Webke getting the first receiver, doing some ball playing here. Lockyer got it, but tangled up with Nick Kenny. Falls back to his feet, trying to play it quickly. Berrigan again, just going forward. And then a sloppy play of the ball. Now a penalty to the Broncos. It happened for Shane Webke. Went against him. It happened to Tom Leroy-Lars, and as a result, the same thing happens. Can Brisbane score a second try in this game? They have a good chance here. 15 metres out. Only 5 minutes remaining, but what can they show us in this set of 6 as far as a set play is concerned, perhaps? Here's Webke. A dump out the back. It comes to Thaiday, who showed that he'll get across the line. They kept it alive from the veteran. And one of the young forwards, Sam Thaiday, picked it up in a broken play situation, was able to reach out and score to make it 30 points to 10.
Yeah, Webke carrying the ball to the line, just throwing it out the back. And on this occasion, it goes to a Broncos player. Lockyer inside ball to Webke. He likes doing that. Webke attracts 3 defenders, gets the ball away. He's got good footwork for a big man, Thaiday. The big dummy, and off the left foot. He had plenty of strength to go over and score a try. This is something the Raiders need to work on their for and against. I would have loved to have kept it 30 to 4. 30 to 6, sorry. Instead it's 30 to 10, kick to come.
From right in front, Corey Parker will make it 30 points to 12. The Raiders leading by 18 still. They came here today with a minus 59 differential, so they'll pick up some vital points in that particular stat, Greg, but they are still a long way behind the rest of the teams they are in a battle for a position in the top 8.
Oh, they are. Look, and Shane Webke, but take your hat off to him. He's battled hard. He's desperately tried to lift this Broncos outfit today. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've spoken about the man that they're missing, Carmichael Hunt. He got some good news. He was scheduled to come back in round 25, but could be back earlier than that. I don't know if one man's going to be the difference, but they certainly need someone that gives Lockyer another option, and they've just got to try and score, get over across the line, try and score some points.
Here's the Raiders, who had possession in one of the most unusual restarts you'll ever see. It was being kicked around by any number of players, but in the end, Darren Lockyer came up with it, and it's Thorne who works it up towards the Brisbane 40-metre line. Berrigan will go to Webke, and again makes a good charge, still going hard right to the end, as you'd expect. There you see the numbers in the last 2 seasons. The Broncos, after the State of Origin series, have now won 2 and lost 12. It's a damning statistic. Thaiday will play at midfield at the 30-metre line. Berrigan going from dummy half quickly. Picks up 10 metres and just flings it out the back wildly to Shane Webke, who beats the tackle of Alan Tongue. He'll play it inside the Canberra 20. On the last tackle, Lockyer looking for somebody down the middle of the park. He might get there himself. Hodges came midfield looking for the ball. In the end, they were able to just wrap up Darren Lockyer. Shapovsky and also Jason Smith making the tackle on him.
Yeah, he's tried hard, Darren Lockyer, all day. But as Brandy said, they're just too reliant on him going back through the middle of the park there, and Jason Smith and Shapovsky coming up with the try saver. Just been too good in every facet, the Canberra side. Their last 10 minutes has been a bit sloppy. Probably put the cue in the rack.
No doubt the pass there from Withers to Wayman was forward. From the moment David Howe scored in the 71st minute, you're right, they certainly haven't been playing with the same intensity they had. They need to hang on here with that falling against in mind. This will be the last Broncos set of the game, you would think, with just on 70 seconds remaining. Eastwood playing it for Thorne, and a group of Broncos standing around the first receiver position with not much happening now. Parker gets the ball away to Darius Boyd. Matthew Elliott won't be too pleased with that. That might have him a little bit hot as he heads back towards the dressing room to prepare what he'll say to the team. At full time, Boyd scores to make it 30 points to 16 now.
Well, it spoils a good afternoon for Canberra. They've been the dominant team. They've been very dominant here this afternoon, as I said, in all facets. But Corey Parker, just a nice offload there to Darius Boyd. And it's been the inability of the Raiders players on this occasion to wrap up the ball carrier.
Corey Parker, the last play of the game. And make just a 12-point loss, which really won't tell you the story of this game. The flags go up, and that will be the full-time score. Canberra 30 have beaten the Broncos 18.
What a day for John Skandalis. His last game at home at Campbelltown Sports Ground. He made his first grade debut against Penrith here in 1996. It was a win that day. Will it be a win today for the West Tigers in a most important game against the Canberra Raiders? Stephen Clark is our first grade referee. He's approaching 300 games. And Marundawan, a beautiful winter's afternoon in Campbelltown. The Canberra Raiders defending the northern end, or scoreboard end, of Campbelltown Sports Ground and getting first use of the football. And the West Tigers wearing the predominantly black and white colours today in honour of John Skandalis playing his final game at Campbelltown. In the spirit of the West Magpies, his former club, trying to carry them home today was Craig Frawley, picked in the second row to start the game today after being the 18th man for the Raiders until Simon Wolford pulled out. Getting his first touch of the football. And still only 20 out from their own line, the Raiders making heavy work. Shipkowski, the captain and fullback, getting into acting half and trying to steal some easy metres, but there's none there to be stolen as the Tigers' defence is very solid around the centre of the rucks. Here's Carney kicking, looking for the touchline, and well covered there by Daniel Fitzhenry. And so now the Tigers will have their first touch of the football 35 metres out from their own line.
Yeah, talking to a few of the West Tigers players before the game, there's a real sense of confidence within the West Tigers still that they can make the semi-finals and go on and defend their premiership. They need to start this game well, and they know that.
Here's Skandalis, and he got a standing ovation as he entered the playing arena a short time ago. Here's Todd Payton now, over the halfway line, so good start here for the Tigers, picking up some metres. De Goyce out of acting half. They will miss Robbie Farah today, no doubt. And you consider Farah, Marshall and Hodgson to name but three of the injured Tigers not here today. There's some big shoes to be filled. Here's Shibowski taking it well, a couple of metres out from his own line. There's Scott Prince in front of him who makes the tackle. So a good start from the Tigers defensively. And then with their first touch of the football as Howell is hitting a good tackle. De Goyce was the man around the legs making initial contact. Skandalis and Payton in there also. Here's Mogg. Some easier metres there out of acting half. And he's lost the football.
Yeah, well, that's what the Tigers are.
Goes to the right, an ordinary pass, and it was well picked up there by Elford. He did very well to pick that ball up around his ankles. But it cost some metres for the West Tigers, but at least they're still in possession. 10 in from the far touchline. They've got still 4 tackles up their sleeve. Fitzhenry plays it. Here's De Goyce linking up with Prince. Prince now finding LaFranchi. Forward pass, says the referee. Otherwise, Anthony LaFranchi was over. The crowd doesn't like it. LaFranchi playing his 100th first grade game today. Could have celebrated.
The crowd are on the referee's back at the moment.
Looks flat at best that this man breathes a sigh of relief. Adam Mogg, who lost the ball, giving the Tigers good field position. Jason Smith, some heavy body contact there. Skandalis involved. 25 metres out from their own line. over the 30-metre line, the Raiders. Now Smith kicking inside his 40. McDonald is back there, 10 out from his own line. Terrific chase here from Canberra. Lincoln Withers leading the way, and Craig Frawley is there to assist in the tackle. So now the Tigers have got to work the ball out from their own end, and Troy Thompson coming in there and really in the youngster Chris Lawrence with everything he had. And to Lawrence's credit, he got straight up to his feet and played the ball.
Yeah, Chris Lawrence last week, second game in first grade, had a blinder the first week. Last week had a few problems against Jake Webster. Back on the wing this week is a lot more comfortable.
And most of his exams are out of the way, so it'll be even more comfortable. Here's Elford. Up quickly, Withers putting pressure on Prince, who then finds the pass on the outside to Hyington. They're just standing flat-footed as Collis then passes to Fitzhenry. Not tackled, says the referee. Well, geez, I thought he was on the ground and passed the football with a hand on him. Here they go again, still the last tackle. Todd Payton just flicks it out the back to Skandalis. What is going on? And Skandalis puts boot to ball and gets us away from that end of the field up to the other, and Chivovsky returns. What are the Tigers doing?
Oh, is there nothing Johnny Skandalis can do in his last game? He'll be taking goal kicks next, don't worry about that.
Croker out of acting half and a little bit shell-shocked at the moment, the Raiders. Croker had no one really to pass to then. Nice tackle there from Hyington.
Well, it's quite an intimidating atmosphere here. There's virtually no Raiders supporters here. So the Tigers, they're going to get some support all day. And they've forced another error.
Troy Thompson, the man dropping the ball. So here's Dean Hallertau. 5 short of the halfway line. Tigers end of the field. DeGoy sat at acting half. Now linking up with McDonald inside the 10. And so the first penalty of the match goes to the West Tigers, and this will give them very good field position.
At the Tigers today, and Prince and Anthony LaFranchi are moving on at the end of the season.
Both going to the Titans, of course, 20 metres away from the goal line. The Tigers with an opportunity. Skandalis. What odds him scoring the first try in his final game at Campbelltown. DeGoyce then passing to Hallertau. Very flat ball and good tackle. Had to be made by Tongue, and he's only a metre out from the goal line. Here's Prince turning it inside to LaFranchi. He was denied earlier, and he's denied again, this time by the defence. DeGoyce to Prince. Prince looking for runners. Then into a yawning gap goes Hyington, and the Tigers have scored first. Well, there wasn't enough defenders there from the Canberra Raiders, and Chris Hyington just strolled over, and the West Tigers turn the possession they've had into points. So it's 6 points to 0. The perfect start for the West Tigers. And the Canberra Raiders and their coach Matthew Elliott would be concerned about the way they've started Canberra.
Well, they do that. That virtually assures them of a place in the semi-finals. So one thing they'll need to do if they're going to win this game, the Raiders, is they'll need to cut down Scott Prince's think time. They gave him too much time on that occasion. He creates the plays.
Payton returning the ball from the kick-off. His tackle just shy of the 20-metre line. Skandalis. Nice tackle there from Lincoln Withers. Elford turning the ball on the inside. The defence is there from Craig Frawley. Smith was there, and so too the number 4 Adam Mogg to stop LaFranchi in his tracks as Skandalis has another hit up. Here's Elford. DeGoyce now. Almost breaking through the other side. Frawley makes the tackle on 5.
Tell me, he looks sharp, DeGoyce out of dummy half. He's not a nice handy player to bring in when you lose someone of the calibre of Robbie Farah, and a great kick there by the Tigers.
Finding space and an awkward bounce too for Purtell. And he takes the ball after Schifowski just gave him the nod and said it was your ball. So here's Schifowski now. They need something here, the Canberra Raiders, just to get to the last tackle and get the ball down the other end as Chung is hitting a solid tackle by a former teammate, Todd Payton.
They're just struggling to get over the advantage line, the Raiders at the moment. And the Tigers just up in their face creating problems.
Smith unloading there to Mogg. And LaFranchi there to make the tackle with Jamal Lolesi, forcing him back. Going nowhere at the moment, Canberra. Carney under pressure. That should be 6 to go. It will be. That was certainly played at. Marlo Leslie trying to put pressure on the kicker, and whether or not you intentionally played, I think if you're trying to put pressure on the kicker and it gets kicked into you, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough, 6 again, but have a look at the Raiders. They are just looking at each other. Who's going to get over the advantage line? They're not running with support. They are not denting the Tigers at all.
Quick hands from Smith, and Mogg has dropped the football. They had the numbers there, but the ball could not find the hands, and this is, I think Matthew Elliott has had enough. And he's about to make a change, as we see the error count there and the completion rates. Pretty ordinary there for Canberra so far. Chris Kaler, who was benched to start the game, is getting ready to come on after what, just 12 minutes of play. Skandalis is tackled, 20 out. De Goyce out of acting half, and Tung made the tackle. Thompson coming in late.
Thompson, yep, absolutely.
Right in front. You take the two-off play. I'd play on here.
I'd keep the pressure on here because the Raiders are really struggling.
De Goyce takes the quick tap. It comes to Prince. Now Hyington runs at Carney, who made the tackle and luckily got some assistance on the inside from Croker, and they're 8 metres out from the goal line. Here's Prince now. Turns it inside to Hallertau. Withers is there waiting for him. Croker and Thompson also. 10 metres away from the line. Hallertau slow to his feet. Now Prince. He finds Skandalis, who is behind, running behind LaFranchi. The referee says no advantage. They've got the numbers here, the Tigers. Prince stepping, still alive, looking for someone to link with. Running across field, and the ball juggled. He didn't lose it and may have almost reached out Hyington for a double. No, he kept his arms back. Now it comes from Prince. Prince on the outside to Collis for the corner. The ball is off the Raiders, I think.
Knocked on first, Tigers. Knocked on first, Tigers.
Knock on by the Tigers, and luckily, because I think Adrian Purtell was the man that took the ball over the touchline as Chris Kaler comes on, and it's Craig Frawley who's come from the field.
Yeah, they're pushing the ball from one side to the other on this occasion. Yeah, the pass probably wasn't on, but Dean Collis was going over the sideline. That was good defence there by the Raiders, and Phil Graham in particular.
I thought there may have been a hand in there from Purtell to knock the ball onto the Tiger before he knocked it on Daniel Fitzhenry. Anyway, look at the in half, over 70% now at the Raiders end of the field. And there's another mistake, and that ball I thought went forward from Payton. Now Mogg is intercepted. They said, did they take their advantage? The referee said yes, they did. He thought about it long and hard. Adam Mogg having a few words to say to the touch judge. Here's Thompson. We thought about that, Stephen Clark. Did the Tigers get an advantage from that mistake? I don't think they did.
Well, I think they did, because it went 2 passes before the intercept occurred. I think they took their advantage, and that's fair play.
Right on the halfway line. Hodgson plays it. Withers linking up with Smith, cuts out Croker. Now here's Carney into some space, linking up with Graham, stepping inside one, looking for support, and Alan Tung is there. Well, that is a terrific try for the Canberra Raiders. Philip Graham didn't score it. He gave the final pass, but there were bodies in motion everywhere. But it goes back to the mistake from the West Tigers. Did they get an advantage? The referee said yes, he's the only one that counts, and the Raiders are back.
Yes, and it goes back to the changeover, to the mistake, and live the Raiders.
The extra points for 6-all from right in front. Joining the Queensland Reds, they wanted to play in some APC, QRS, VP or whatever comp at the end of the year to get a taste of rugby.
He hasn't had enough games this season, has he?
Exactly. Some rugby comp they play at the end of the year between teams. But Clinton wants to go as far as he can with the Raiders before he's even thinking about that. As Thompson takes it forward.
And that might give the Raiders a little bit of confidence, because they've really been struggling to try and get some ground, get out of their own territory. They haven't actually had to play the ball yet in the Tigers' 20-metre zone. So most of the game's been played down here because the Tigers have been shutting them down at the play the ball.
They haven't had many in the Tigers' half play the ball.
That's true.
Only half a dozen or so. And they find themselves level at 6-all. Smith. Now Mogg. Elf there with the tackle. He's very close to the touchline. Kaler, who's on Craig Frawley, and the lift was there, and Payton could have been penalised, had the hands between the legs. Last tackle here for Canberra. Smith going wide to Carney, who's going to kick it. in between the winger and fullback, and it's a good kick also. Fitzhenry was almost back to his own goal line. That's a nice chase here for Canberra. Tongue was flying up, and there was a very good tackle there from Croker, forcing the fullback Shannon McDonald back about a couple of metres. And now Fitzhenry, as these West Tigers forwards are taking their time to get back on side. Maybe the initial spurt from the Tigers is starting to take its toll on a unseasonably warm afternoon at Campbelltown.
And you've got to factor in the black jumpers that the Tigers are wearing. It does absorb the heat a lot more than the lighter colours, and that's going to be something that the Tigers players are going to have to deal with in these, as you mentioned, very hot conditions. Probably 20, 21 degrees here today out of Campbelltown.
Last tackle here for the Tigers. Prince from inside his 40, now over the 40, little kick. It's off legs, accidental offside for Mysore. Now it's a deliberate offside.
Accidental offside, Canberra. The Tigers think it was accidental offside.
Well, Jason Croker was the man that ended up with the ball.
One of your blokes and then another bloke. Accidental offside, Canberra. Tigers feet. Out!
Here's Prince. Hallertown now. Over the halfway line by about a metre or two, right in centre field. And Chris Kaler taking forever to get off the tackle player. And they just keep making these errors.
That's slow motion, but you know, it was still very, very slow.
Wasn't that much different to what he was doing.
It probably wasn't, was it?
3-0 the penalty count. And here again, Kaler could easily have been penalised there. Alessi, now Prince, running very acute angle there. Hyington straight back in to the meat of the Raiders' defence. First interchange being made, and Ryan O'Hara on for the Tigers. And it was Todd Payton who was interchanged. Here's De Goyce out of acting half. Now Prince into space, Elford, but it closed very quickly. Graham was there and Smith also. Prince looking for Skandalis, finds him inside the 10. Alan Tongue was the man penalised.
No advantage. Chris Kaler offside, gone early.
Chris Kaler, in fact. So 2 in a row that he's given away. De Goyce now with the tap. Prince dummying inside. Can he reach out? No, he's forced back by Tongue. Kaler was around the legs. They're 2 metres away from the line. Can they burrow over? No, that closes quickly. LaFranchi will play it a metre out from the line. De Goyce at acting half. Dummies inside to O'Hara, then to Skandalis. He's only a metre away. At the moment, the Raiders' defence is holding. De Goyce to Prince, stepping. Held on to by Carney. He reached out and put the ball down. Carney had hold of him. Did he force it? He's looking.
Hit the ground.
I'm going to say no try. And there it is, 20-metre restart. Scotty Prince is not arguing.
No.
Matty Elliott breathes a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I think the Tigers will resign to the fact that Scotty lost control of the football.
Wasn't much in it though.
No, I mean, it was worth a try. Well, it wasn't worth a try, but it was worth the effort.
Here's Wayman. 12 metres short of the halfway line. Here's Kalo and taken out. Withers by Alessi in back play. He's calling the touch judge to come on, Stephen Clark. It was Jamal Alessi who hit Lincoln Withers.
You've got him off the ball. All right, so it's on report. Yeah, with.
And here it is, well after he got rid of the football. It's a late tackle. He deserves a penalty.
I don't think there's any problem with the high tackle, but it's certainly late.
Withers takes the. Can they hang on to it for a set? And Elford forced them back behind the mark where they took the tap. Here's Wayman with the juggle. It's hard to believe. There's a couple of changes being made by the Tigers. It's hard to believe it's still only 6-all. Wayman injured in that tackle. In back play, struggling a little bit. Now he gets himself into position. Withers is it to Mogg. Mogg with a set play to Schifofsky. Inside to Croker. Croker then back to Smith. He finds Schifofsky, who straightens, looks for support on the inside from Graham, but it was closed down by Hallertau. Carney now. Dummies to Wayman. Now links up with Mogg. The Tigers' defence is there in a straight line, and they're 10 metres away from the goal line, Canberra, on the last tackle. Now Smith. Cross-field kick. Here comes Purtell, but Fitzhenry is there and takes the ball very nicely under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, enormous pressure there on the West Tigers. They held their line well. First time the Raiders have been down this close to the line, and it was a good kick. Fortunately for the Tigers, Daniel Fitzhenry got between the two chasers and came up with possession.
This is Chris Lawrence. Right on the 30-metre line. McDonald out of acting half. Trying to burst his way through, and Jason Croker coming in over the top. He's lucky not to be penalised for a flop there as Prince kicks. Looking for touch. Will he find it? And Clinton Shivovsky says, I'm not going to play at that. We'll just take our time and pack this scrum. 17 minutes remaining in the 900 tackles for the season. There's Mogg. Trying to work this left-hand side defence for the Tigers. Every opportunity, Mogg up against Jamal Olesi. At the moment, Olesi is handling it quite well. Smith. Croker runs the decoy. Carney, they've got a chance here. Purtell is playing inside Graham in that play. Tackled shy of the halfway line. Carney, he's inside to Tongue, then turns it to Wayman. He takes it over the halfway line, standing. Thought about offloading. Held it, says the referee. And he's tackled a couple of metres into Tigers territory. Smith back to Shivovsky. Taylor running the decoy. Mogg now accelerates through the gap. He's got the fullback to beat. Does it easily. Then throws the ball over the top into touch. And he ends up in the in-goal area. In fact, somehow David Howe's kept it in the field of play. But I can't believe what I've just seen. Adam Mogg ended up in the in-goal area and passed the ball back to David Howe. What is he doing?
That's the weirdest thing I've seen on a rugby league field for a long time. Great back here by Adam Mogg. Gets into space. He's basically over the try line. And bang, throws the ball back. Which, well, you've got to be a little bit critical.
Surrender!
I can't believe that. That is a dictionary definition of a butchered try. It did remarkably well. Mogg, the acceleration through the gap and stood up Shannon McDonald. And when you thought he was over, he passes. He was standing in the in-goal watching it all unfold behind him. Flanagan out of acting half. Scandalis having a break now. As McDonald gets the ball from an offload, and Tongue is there to make the tackle on the halfway line, and Scandalis sits down. Here's Hallertau out of acting half. Hyington. Prince with the dummy through. Where's the support? On the inside, Fitzhenry. Now he's looking for more support. There it is through the number 3, Collis. Collis is looking for someone. It's off a Raiders' hand, and that's offside. Quick tap. O'Hara. Only a metre or so away from the goal line, right in front of the uprights. Flanagan. Payton. He's now tackled 2 metres away. Golden opportunity here for the Tigers to retake the lead. Elford stepping. Not too many step past Alan Tongue, who makes the tackle with Michael Wayman. Flanagan. Tackle, losing the football. Strip, says the referee. 5-1 now, the penalty count.
What are you doing? Here's the mark here.
6-1.
What's your mark?
Prince. Hyington looking for a double. Back out the back to Prince. Quick hands from Collis. Fitzhenry for the corner. The Tigers are in. Hyington with the offload. The quick hands from Prince to Collis. And Fitzhenry makes it 10-6 to the Tigers with a kick to come.
Yeah, we'll put that one down to the sheer weight of possession, and it's the Tigers who are just probing, pushing. On this occasion, the Raiders come up in the 2-man strip in the tackle. The Tigers once again quick tap. This time they spread it to the right side. They've tried to punch down this right side time and time again. On this occasion, they managed to keep the ball alive. Scotty Prince involved again, instrumental in this play. Dean Collis is the one that puts the ball into Fitzhenry's hands in the end, but they just run out of troops here, the Raiders. the ability to keep the ball alive, second man play, down the short side, short on numbers. Fitzhenry comes up with a simple try in the end, but they needed that try, the Tigers, because they've had a lot of possession, they've had a lot of field position, and from a confidence
what he has in front of him. He struck it pretty well. Is it coming back enough? It is. Has it got the length? It does. 12 points to 6. Scott Prince looked into the wound. Chat with the referee.
Well, not a bad kick for a part-timer either. He has got the ball on the string, both when he's got the ball to the way he's controlling the game.
Chivosky restarts. Obviously talking to the referee about the 6-1 penalty count. There's O'Hara against his former club has tackled. 12 out from his own line. 10 out from half-time. And the scoreboard becoming a little bit more reflective of the game so far. Michael Wayman off with that injury. Straight up the tunnel he goes. Dane Tills on for the Canberra Raiders. Very distressed Michael Wayman. Hyington has tackled about 14 metres short of the halfway line. Here's Payton. He's got O'Hara with him, but takes the tackle of Thompson. About 5 metres short of the halfway line. Prince now kicking. Getting back there, David Howe. He'll take it on the fly, 10 out from his own line. Run straight at Prince, who makes a good one-on-one tackle and tried to steal the ball one-on-one. Couldn't quite manage it. Tongue. Another change being made as Marshall Chalk comes on for Canberra. That's their 4th interchange. Tilts almost breaking up the other side of the defence. Smith. Here's Chalk to the halfway line. Mogg out of acting half. Pushes away from O'Hara. Now Carney. He straightens back on the inside to Croker. Thought about passing to Chivosky, but Todd Payton was between Croker and the Canberra Raiders captain as Smith puts the ball high in the air. McDonald is there. Who wants it? It's off the hands of Fitzhenry, I believe. Tongue just knocks it back for some reason. Knock on by Fitzhenry. I thought it may have come off his leg. I thought Tongue was taking a bit of a risk there. In the end, they will get possession and maybe a little bit easier for them with the forwards taken out to mount an attacking raid.
Well, it's a pretty handy kick by Jason Smith because it was in the air over to the far side. They've got the sun directly in their eyes, those defending players out there, so we'll probably see a little bit more of that as the game unfolds, but gives the Raiders another great attacking opportunity.
Tongue through the tackle there at Hallertau, tied it up by Lolesi, 5 metres away from the line. There's a chance to the left for the Raiders. They go that way. Smith, long ball, picked up magnificently by Fertel, back on the inside to Graham, and they end up scoring, or do they?
Simo, tackle 2. Let's check at the grounding here, please.
Well, they had the numbers. Wasn't the best of passes. Fertel did well to half volley it. And Graham, as he got it down. Yep, not a drama there.
Forced the Raiders to be playing most of the game up the other end of the field, but their defence looks vulnerable on their own line, and there's the green light.
10th try of the season for Phil Graham. And so 12 points to 10. Canberra just haven't had any football, any good football to speak of.
Well, have a look at the numbers on that far side. It was great work by Pertel to hug the sideline. He was Sprakes, and on that occasion, Phil Graham's the man that comes up with the try.
Certainly getting a work out from the crowd. Chivosky. It's coming back, coming back, and he kicks one from touch, as Scott Prince did just a moment ago. And so we are locked at 12 with 6
spent down the Raiders' end of the field, yet they still managed to be level on the scoreboard, which indicates that the limited opportunities they've had, they've come up with tries. And there, have a look at that, 20 times the Tigers have been tackled down near the Raiders' line and have come up with 2 tries. 3 times the Raiders have been down the Tigers' line, come up with 2 tries. So yeah, the Tigers need to improve their goal line defence.
They need to improve their attack down the other end.
Well, you've got to give, and I'm giving credit to the Raiders' defence. They are really pushing, putting pressure on the Tigers' attackers, and I think that's frustrating the Tigers a little bit down near their line.
Some bad news downstairs from the Canberra Raiders. Michael Wayman, a possible dislocated jaw. Nasty.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's just amazing how some players just have a run of bad luck, and for Michael Wayman it appears to be continuing.
So the Raiders get the ball down the other end as early as they can after taking the ball on the full from the restart. Now the Tigers have to work it out from their own end. As Chris Lawrence is tackled. It's Tongue again. 22 tackles he's made, and not even at half time. And out of those 22, or 23 now, he's making first contact there again and forcing the error. And now the Raiders may well lead at half time. But that was Alan Tongue making first contact again, forcing the error from the West Tigers. Tilts, that ball was forward. The touch judge wasn't in position because he's marking the 10. Kayla, 15 metres away. Withers, now Smith. Here's Carney straight, looking to get over the line. He's lost it, then kicks it out as it hit the ground, about to hit the ground, straight into the hands of Todd Payton, but once again worrying signs for the Tigers.
And once again, it was the Tigers' right side defence that the Raiders were attacking and almost came up with the try, but the counter-attack from the Tigers has been tremendous today as well.
Prince finding Lelesi, who's tackled there by Marshall Chalk. Prince out of acting half again, trying to create something. Ben Gallier now is tackled, 9 metres short of the halfway line inside the final 4 minutes until the break. Flanagan had that right arm free but couldn't quite get the ball away. Here's the last tackle for the Tigers. Now the kick comes from Prince. It's a nice bounce. No, it's not for Shavovsky. It was initially, but he didn't have another bounce and thinking about passing to Purtell. Now he's trying to link up with him. Well, he's run about 60 metres there, Clinton, and gained about 4. Purtell, Howe. Now he accelerates and almost gets through and juggles on the 30-metre line as he plays it. Croker, 9 short of the halfway line. Tongue. Smith. Dummies the kick. Now Carney. Ball to Chalk, which was forward. The Tigers fans say at last, and we were right in line with that, and it just went forward. 8 errors made by the Raiders. Their completion the final 2 minutes of the first half. Elford dumbing inside to Lelesi, finding McDonald. He's tackled just over. There's a dangerous tackle, is it?
Put him up. You put him into a dangerous position, fellas.
Will give the West Tigers Justice Smith with 2 minutes to go to take the lead heading into the break. LaFranchi, 20 metres away. Flanagan out of acting half. Hollis will play it. 12 metres away. Flanagan. Now to Payton, short ball. They had a chance, and now they've come up with the error. LaFranchi, the man that dropped it.
And if they can get some back-to-back sets on the Raiders, be a little bit more disciplined, a bit more patient, then they'll probably come up, and I'm definitely sure they'll come up with a lot more points.
Good news from downstairs. It's not dislocated the jaw of Michael Wayman, just a bruise, and he'll be back.
That's a remarkable recovery.
But it's also good news, as he's got an ice pack on the jaw at the moment. And he'll just be delighted that there is no serious injury for him. There he is, 2 ice packs. Withers. Now Smith cuts out Croker. Carney kicking. Here's the chase from Purtell. McDonald is there. Fitzhenry, and McDonald just takes it straight over the touchline. In Campbelltown, 12-all the score. The Tigers and the Raiders, with the Tigers defending the northern end, getting first use of the football in the second half. And this game soon went to golden point extra time, where the penalty goal for Clinton Shavovsky proved the difference between the two sides, and it's 12-all here at half-time. So not much between the two teams in 3 halves and a bit of football.
Yeah, the big difference, Mark, is that the quality of attacking players that the Tigers are without today is I think hindering their attack. You know, Brett Hodgson, Benji Marshall, Paul Fadaweri, you've got players of that calibre out. The reason they can't score as many points when they're down near the Raiders line.
Robbie failed it also. Shivosky does well to take that ball, which was just drifting away from him. Now, Jason Smith is in a little bit of trouble too for the Raiders as they try and work it out from their own 20. He hurt himself making a tackle. Tills. So in the last 4 games, the second half has not been too kind to the West Tigers. What will happen today is Kayla is almost breaking through. Just an ankle tap there by Flanagan. 5 metres over the halfway line he is tackled. Now here's Smith, who has recovered. Mogg bounced away from one but couldn't get away from Alessi, and Flanagan was there also. Smith at acting hard. Here's the kick from Carney. It's a tough one for Fitzhenry to take, and the chase was very good from Canberra. Halatau. There's Jason Smith just getting some attention. So he got the knock in the first or second tackle of this half, and obviously hasn't met one of the many cuts he's had. Oh, there's some contact from Marshall Chalk, but it doesn't stop Jamal Alessi. You feel that from here. He almost loses the football. He's trying to roll away, and Jamal keeps stepping over the top of him. We would have ended up in West League's club in a moment if they kept going. Now the pass from Collis wasn't a great one to Fitzhenry. He gets the kick away, and it bounces away from Shivosky. He's over the 10, up to the 20 before he meets any resistance from Tigers' defence.
And there's no doubt Jason Smith is the man that's really got to be watched by the Tigers. He's directing play, he's trying to get the ball, or he's getting the ball out both sides of the ruck wide early as he can in the tackle count. It's creating problems for the Tigers' outside backs defence.
Purtell, 12 metres short of the halfway line. Canberra's into the field. Tainted acting hard. Smith turns it inside to Chalk, who beats the first line of defence, gets up and offloads to Withers, who was under pressure. In fact, Chalk may have been better off hanging onto the football himself, because all the defenders had dropped off him as Smith gets boot to ball. McDonald attacking it, gets a nice bounce, 10 out from his own line, but once again the chase is good from the Canberra Raiders.
And they've done a good job as well on Shannon McDonald. He's lightning when he gets a bit of speed and their kick space, I should say, and his kick chase, the Raiders' kick chase today has been outstanding.
This is Gillier. Tills making the tackle. The assistance of Adam Mogg. Payton. 5 short of halfway. Tigers into the field. Chalk was the man around the legs. Tongue over the top as the kick now comes from Prince. It's a chase here for Shivosky, who gets a nice bounce. 10 out from his own line. Looking for some way through, and there is none. As the Frankie and Halatau make the tackle. Penalty. The West Tigers inside the 10, and just the second penalty of the game for the Canberra Raiders. And this will help them get out from their own end.
Well, they were very disciplined in the first half, the West Tigers. As a result, they managed to keep the Raiders down the other end of the field. They must maintain their discipline in the second half if they're going to be a chance of winning this game. The Raiders have shown how dangerous they are when they get down into the Tigers' line.
Chris Kayla coming off for the Raiders, and they're making their 5th interchange as Hodgson goes on, and he gets the ball now. Over the 40 he goes by a couple of metres. Withers. He's inside to Tills, cuts out Tongue to find Smith. Now Carney again, turning to Mogg. Mogg then pops it back to Shivosky. He's always dangerous in broken play, and Halatau puts a good shot on him around the legs and over the top. As a former teammate in Todd Payton. Withers. Now Chalk runs it low. Alessi and makes the tackle with Elford. Inside the 20, the Raiders now. Here's Hodgson. Up to the 10. Last tackle here for Canberra. Smith calls for it, receives it, looks for runners. Croker behind him, bouncing then nicely for Pertell, flicks it out the back. Graham couldn't get the handle on it. It goes into touch changeover, but a wasted opportunity there for the Canberra Raiders.
Well, that was another bomb try as well. They had a two-man overlap here. All the ball had to do was to find one of the 2 or 3 Raiders players out there that were in space. Unfortunately, it went to ground, and the Tigers come up with possession, looking to clear their line.
Prince, hands from Galea. Elford will play it, still inside his 20. Here's Galea, now Alessi. Chalk and Mogg there to meet him. And that's a grapple tackle.
Get away. Get it down.
And so the Raiders, the Tigers, off the hook there.
Yeah, they need a little bit of help there, the Tigers, because they were looking around to see who was going to run the football. A little bit lost at the start of this second half. The West Tigers got to try and get back into the rhythm they had for most of that first half, and also the discipline they had in that first half.
Haven't seen any sign yet. Harrison for the West Tigers. So a fresh player up the sleeve of Tim Sheens as Ryan O'Hara takes it forward. Prince. Now Elford. Croker there, and Tongue also, and coming in to assist was Todd Carney. Quick play the ball, Flanagan. Now LaFranchi. Withers was around the legs, making good solid tackle first up, and Hodgson came in with Carney to assist. Prince run around with Payton. Now it comes to Elford. Smith making the tackle. Mogg knocks it down. The referee says it was played at, and the tackle count has restarted. Now Prince to Payton, picks it up well off his toes for a big man. Was it played at? There's a mistake from Flanagan.
No advantage, boys. No advantage. First one by Canberra, then Tigers. There was one up here, played at Canberra, then Tigers.
The first mistake from Canberra. There was a hand there. I thought that Scott Prince was yelling out for that, but I didn't think it was a knock on. So the Raiders under the pump again. And Scott Prince taking his time to bring the ball to the scrum.
Buddy Prince came around Todd Payton, created opportunities. I think they need to look at more of that.
Halatau, as Tongue makes the tackle, he stumbled out of the scrum. Tongue and only just got there to assist Croker. Flanagan inside, Galea trying to spin through the defence. He's only a couple of metres away from the goal line. Flanagan, Prince, LaFranchi to decoy. They've got numbers here, Elford, if he can get it on the outside. Collis went on the inside, and so they ran out of options. Now it comes to Prince. He's inside to LaFranchi, inside to Halatau, and runs straight behind one of his teammates. Off goes to McDonald. Does he get it down? We're going to check.
Simo, tackle 4. Check 1, obstruction, 2 grounded.
Ryan O'Hara was the man that ran through for the decoy. I'm not sure that he actually obstructed anyone, but he certainly ran behind Prince, ran behind him. Here it is again.
Yeah, well, he's drifting across field there. I can't see any players that have been obstructed. Now, does he get it down? I don't know whether or not Shannon McDonald still has control of the football when he gets over the try line. That to me is the biggest query.
Paul Simpkins is the man that has to decide. It's looking for the number 17, Ryan O'Hara. Now, Smith, he doesn't touch anyone, and Smith just doesn't have the pace, I don't think, to get the Prince. And he's lost the ball anyway. He never gets it down, so it's not a try.
Oh, rules obstruction.
Obstruction.
And 18,500, the third ever highest crowd for the Tigers here at Campbelltown as they say goodbye to John Skandalis on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Terrific crowd.
Yeah, generating tremendous atmosphere as well. In fact, a lot of emotion out there with the West Tigers today, and they're playing emotionally charged football. That's led to a lot of errors. They're trying to overplay their hand at times, and now that's given the Raiders the rack on a number of occasions. The Raiders struggling to get field position in their second half, though.
Chivosky decides to go forward in tackle number 4. 17 minutes of play remaining. Still no change to the half-time score as Tongue trying to capture Harrison in an offside position. Withers, they just haven't been down this end of the field, the Raiders. Mogg, the ball went forward, says the referee, from Smith to Mogg. That's not the first time we've seen that today.
Tigers outside backs who drop back early, but you're not going to deal with passes that are that sloppy.
Gallier trying to burst his way through, got past Chalk but not Thompson. De Goyce out of acting half. Elford back to De Goyce. He goes forward over the halfway line by about a metre or two. Thompson was around the legs. Withers a man over the top. Halatau. Oh, Tongue there with another good tackle, one-on-one, right on the 40-metre line. The tackle number 48 for Alan Tongue. We've still got 16 minutes to go. Heinton hitting a good, solid tackle from Withers. Crawley there to tidy up as well. Now Prince stepping inside Withers, looking for runners, finding McDonald on the last. Now Gallier, basketball pass over the top to Lolesi, who kicks for the corner. Shifrovsky has it covered. The chase is good, but he able to find Pertell on the outside to take it up to the 10. He's had it stripped one-on-one. No knock-on, says the referee. And so it's going to be the loosened feet of the Tigers, 10 from the line. This could be it for the West Tigers.
And the West Tigers high-fiving one another. They realise that could be the breakthrough. That could be the opportunity that gives them the lead in this match. Well, yep, not a problem there. That's definitely a knock-on for sure. And the Raiders once again have a look at that completion rate in the second half. Less than 50% completions. Now they're their own worst enemy. They're failing to compete in the basics.
On the whistle, Scott.
Jason Smith interchanged by the Raiders. And that's happened at a scrum. I don't think you could do that. Now Elford forced back in the tackle, almost losing the football. Who came on for Smith. Now Heinton to Collis. Collis almost able to position Fitzhenry. He's 5 metres away from the line. They've got 4 tackles left. Heinton, Prince, dummies to Scandalis. Here's a chance. Gallier. Lolesi has tapped it a mile forward. And so another incomplete set, and the Raiders hold again.
Well, they bombed another one there, the Tigers. They had the opportunity. And I think Shane Elford's a good, solid player, but at 5'8", he just doesn't have the skills, doesn't have the catch and pass game that creates the space for the outside players. And the Raiders are finding it too easy to shut down the Tigers' spreads along the back line.
Carney. Now, Matty Elliott will just want this set completed and a kick down the other end to get away from this danger area. 12 all, 14 to go. No change to the half-time score as Thompson takes it forward. Short of the halfway line. Croker couldn't pass to Michael Wayman on his outside because Wayman was standing in front of him. There's Matty Elliott. He's a bit nervous at the moment. Wayman with the dummy over the top of De Goyce. But Lolesi there to tidy up. Last tackle now. Carney will kick for the wing. Here comes Pertell. Fitzhenry has it and attacks the football. And Graham makes the tackle, but they're 19, 20 metres out from their own line, the Tigers. McDonald. There's Jason Smith. A little bit of blood there. Just interchanged by Jason Croker. 13 to go. Last time these two teams met, it was Golden Point after 12 all at half-time. Scandalis, 5 short of halfway. Halatau. Nice tackle, Thompson. Here's the last for the Tigers. Prince kicking. It's over the head of Shifovsky, who does well to get back and take it over his shoulder. But there's a wall of defenders there from the West Tigers, and there's no way through for him.
And the Raiders forwards walking back on side, they are very tired at the moment, and the Tigers are looking to play a game of chess at the moment, waiting for the Raiders to come up with a mistake so they can assault the line once again.
Oh, this second half has gone in particular. They won't have to wait too long. They did complete their last set though, Canberra. So it's an improvement there. They're 15 short of halfway and they're about to make two in a change at once. Withers, in behind Frawley, tackled straight away, so no advantage, says the referee. And it's tackle number 5 and Carney will kick. It's into the corner away from McDonald and it'll find touch and give both teams the opportunity to have a little bit of a breather. And Clinton Shavosky, the skipper. Canberra Raiders have a pretty good record when they kick a field goal. Well, that man in particular does love to celebrate a win when he kicks a winning field goal.
Well, he can kick a field goal from anywhere in the opposition's half, even out near halfway, and we know that. So the Tigers really need to get field position as we winds down towards the full-time siren.
Half back up here. Up, right up, Lincoln. Come on, right up. Right up. Yeah, stay there. Stay there where you are. When you're ready, Scott. Out!
It's got to go in for it to come out, doesn't it?
It used to in the old days.
Just say through. Now the Tigers play it. Here's Skandalis. Runs it with it. And makes the tackle. Just short of the 20-metre line. So the Tigers can't afford a mistake here either. Because the Raiders have never really been in a position in the second half to put some pressure on apart from early. The last 20 minutes or so, it's been all the Tigers down the other end of the field. De Goyce out of acting half. Withers is there to make the tackle. Tills comes in. Still able to pop the ball back to Hine. Thompson with the tackle. Right on the halfway line. Just a metre or two into Canberra territory. Prince is going to kick on 5. It's a tough one into the sun for Howell. It's a tough kick and he took it very well. Now he's lost it. Or is it a penalty? Play on. No, it was lost in the tackle and he's hurt there too, Howell. So they're short on the left-hand side and the referee says time off, injured player. He did so well to take the football and then lost it in the tackle and he's in a bit of pain.
Yeah, he completed the catch, took the catch well, looked at like it was safe, and then for some reason, I think the contact there, bang, it looks like his knee or ankle is twisted, in some pain, loses the football whilst the players are completing the tackle. It looks like his ankle, I think it is, that's twisted. He's bang, look at that.
No, thank you.
Awkward position, and he loses, there you can see the pain, he loses the ball.
So 0 tackle, we need the Tigers to hang on to the football here to put some pressure on the Raiders if they are to win. Will they go for a field goal early or will they try for the try? Lalesi, Prince, 5 metres away from the line. De Goyce from acting half. The Raiders defence holds again. A couple of metres away inside the final 10 minutes of this game. Collis to Prince. Harrison spins away from 2. Hodgson there to make the tackle. 8 metres away from the line. De Goyce, Prince, kicking early. Shavosky is there and he took his time and took it over the dead ball line. It was like he was waiting right to the last minute to just take it out of the hands of Shane Elford and almost teasing him.
It was a great kick, well-weighted kick there by Scotty Prince. Found the gap beautifully. Gives them a repeat set, and a repeat set so late in the game against a team that's already had to do a mammoth amount of tackling is going to be a huge test for the Raiders' defence.
First goal line dropout of the match. When you consider how many tackles the West Tigers have had in the opposition 20. It's quite interesting that they've only had to have 1 goal line dropout. You can see 90 more tackles made by Canberra from the West Tigers. De Goyce. Tigers chant goes up. 10 metres out from the line. Tackle number 3. A little bit short to the left here, Canberra. They've got numbers here, the Tigers. Prince stepping back to the middle. Hallertau almost bursting through, but Kayla makes the tackle with Dane Tilts right in front of the uprights. Prince now to the line. Short ball, Harrison. Back then to Prince, who throws the dummy over the top and scores the try. In the end, the weight of possession has finally told, and the Tigers are in front. 16-12 with a kick to come. The Raiders could hold on no more.
Yeah, and Scott Prince, a try couldn't go to a more deserving player. He's been the man of the match by a mile here today. He's controlled the game. He's toyed with the Raiders' defence. On this occasion, it was a offload by the Tigers, number 15, Bronson Harrison, to promote the football. The runaround play, Scotty Prince stays alive, throws a dummy, the show and go, and bang, he's in the hole. And, well, tell you what, they had to score because the Raiders have just been absorbing so much punishment. They're absolutely fatigued. They're walking out there.
He struck it pretty well, but just to the left, it's not coming back enough. And so 16 to 12, 6.5 to go. There's still time for Canberra. They just have to get down the other end and hang on to the football.
And once again, the ability to keep the ball alive means that Scotty Prince gets the Tigers in front. There's a lot of football left, and the Raiders go for the short kickoff.
And it's off whose hand? Play on, says the referee. It was off a Tigers' hand, and so Canberra has come up with possession. What can they do with it, though? Have they got anything left? Michael Hodgson will play it. No Jason Smith out there either. Tilts. Over the 20. Who is going to take control for them? There's no one in there at first receiver. Tongue. Carney. Now Withers. Mogg. Looking for the corner. Can he get there? No, he's only a metre away. Lawrence with the tackle. He played the ball and there was no acting half. He got up and played the football. There was no one there and the Tigers have come up with possession. We've seen just about everything today.
Well, he tried to get a quick play. The ball was the right off, but he had no support players there. Therefore, there was no one to go into dummy half.
Another incomplete set for the Canberra Raiders. And here it is.
He does the right thing, comes up with a quick play of the ball. Well, they pushed over too, so Tigers are a little bit lucky that they didn't get penalised.
I think because there was no one there, they most probably got away with it. If there would have been an acting half there who locked the ball on, there would have been a penalty to Canberra. The penalty count 11-3, so they haven't had too many this afternoon. Last tackle, Prince kicking from his own 30. Shivovsky is under it. 20 out, now 30 out from his own line. Graham, is there someone from Canberra who can create something here for them? Now they're inside the final 5. Time is well and truly running out. Kayla almost through.
Well, they're having plenty of luck out wide. They'll need to get the ball wide early. I don't think they're going to find any way through the forwards because the Tigers forwards are shutting them down in tight.
2 tackles left in this set. Tongue. Carney. Back to Tongue. Now to Shifovsky. He's always dangerous from broken play. He's still going. He's a hard man to get down. Last tackle. Carney. They've got a number of players here lining up. Mogg reaches out and scores. They had them queuing up. The Tigers' defence was caught short. Lelesi was on the wing. Lawrence was playing in at centre. Lelesi had dropped back for the kick and there was no one there. And Adam Mogg this time decided to run himself and we're all level. Shivovsky has the chance to win the game yet again with his boot.
Yeah, well, they were short on numbers here, the West Tigers. Chris Lawrence caught out there because Jamal Lelesi has dropped back, waiting for the kick. The kick didn't come, so Lawrence got left posted, and as a result, the Raiders come up with the opportunity to score the try, and he's had a good game today too, Adam Mogg. He's really stepped up another 2 or 3 years since he played representative football, State of Origin earlier this year, and comes up, gives Clinton Shivovsky the opportunity to win the game for the Canberra Raiders, and that will virtually secure them a semi-final place with a bye coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Inside the final 3. It's on its way. It never, ever, ever looked like missing. Matty Elliott breathes a sigh of relief. Clinton Shivovsky raised his hands to the air, and the Raiders now find themselves in front with less than 3 to go on John Skandalis' last day at Campbelltown. Do we see the short kick? No. They want to force an error. And there's been a few of those from Canberra today. Tilts. He wrapped up that football tight. Kayla. Payton trying the one-on-one steal. Quick play the ball. Tongue at an acting half. Here's Croker with a little bit of a juggle. They will get one set, the Tigers. Tim Sheen's on the bench, looks on. Hodgson stumbling as he came to the defence. Tackle number 4, 10 metres short of the halfway line. Thompson, last tackle. Carney is there at first receiver, will kick just inside the halfway line. No, he won't. It's the juggle. What was he thinking, trying to accelerate? Turnover inside their own half. Matty Elliott will be going absolutely berserk at the moment. Penalty inside the 10. They must take the 2 surely here, Wayne Pearce.
Well, they've got to. They've got an opportunity to push this game into extra time. And Scotty Prince, he says, we're going to take the 2 points. The Raiders well offside. Lack of discipline there. Could cost them this match ultimately, but Scotty Prince is a big test, big pressure kick for a non-regular kicker.
Absolutely. You talk about their lack of discipline there, but you've got to get a kick away on your last tackle.
Well, not only that, you know that the opposition in this situation, the Tigers, whose season's on the line, they're going to pressure your kicker on the last kicker. So why wait till the last play the ball? Why don't you kick it on tackle 4, get rid of it when they're not expecting and get down the other end of the field?
He didn't signal time off Stephen Clark there because, as he said to Scott Prince, it's your time you're wasting, you're behind. So here's Prince. He's, 34 metres out. He's just to the right of the uprights. He's kicked 2 from 3. This to send it into goal for the second game in a row between the 2 teams. You can't do that, Clinton Schiavowski. He strikes it. It doesn't look like missing either. It's now 18 all, and we will be going to Golden Point. And it was 18 all when we went to Golden Point in Canberra in round 19 after it was 12 all at half-time there. It's the twilight zone.
It is, and the Tigers season hanging by a moment, hanging by a thread. Scotty Prince has kept him in this game. He's scored tries, he's made breaks, and he's kicked that goal to force it into extra time.
Matty Elliott will be absolutely filthy at his side for letting that game slip away. There's the siren. Full time. 18 all between the Tigers and the Canberra Raiders. We are going to Golden Point. The Golden Point is underway. Scotty Prince kicks it deep. And so the Canberra Raiders, who led 18-16 with a minute to go, now find themselves in Golden Point against the West Tigers for the second time in a month.
And I've got to say, I would rather be the West Tigers than the Canberra Raiders. At Campbelltown, Johnny Skandalis' last game, the crowd here are absolutely fanatics in terms of cheering on this West Tigers side.
Maybe the trump card is getting ready for the Canberra Raiders though too. Jason Smith getting ready to come back on as Wayne Collins in the background is telling David Furner who is the player to come off, and it's going to be Troy Thompson. And Jason Smith goes straight on for Canberra. There's the kick, late again on 5. And Fitzhenry had a wobbly old ball there at his feet looking into the sun. And now the Tigers have to make sure they don't make a mistake, working it out from their end. McDonald. 25 out from their own line, the Tigers. With Frankie taking it forward, 12 metres away from the line. Tim Sheens doesn't look any different whether it's Golden Point or the first minute, whether he's up by 40 or down by 40. How does he do it? Over the halfway line go the Tigers. A terrific run by Hallertau. Here's Skandalis. Are they close enough for a field goal? Here's Prince. He's not going for it. He's going to kick into the corner and say to Canberra, you might have done it the first set to get up the other end. Let's see if he can string 2 back-to-back without making a blue.
Yeah, that smart play there from Scotty Prince. I think he was under a little bit too much pressure to go for the field goal. Perfect kick. Puts the pressure back on the Raiders now. You're exactly right there, Mark. The onus is on them to get back up to good field position, and they've struggled to do that throughout the course of this match.
It's the first time that 2 teams have met twice in the same year in Golden Point. Almost twice in the same month. It was round 19 the last time they met. And of course today, round 23 in Canberra. The way they've played today with the number of mistakes they've made, working the ball out their own end, they will be particularly nervous at the moment, the players.
Well, they've struggled for thrust over the advantage line throughout the course of this match. and they almost come up with another forward pass just there.
Dane Tills passed the ball on the outside. It was one of those passes that you have your heart in your mouth if you're a Canberra Raiders supporter. Tackle number 4, and they're 30 metres out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's here, and he's dropped the ball, and he was going to be kicking, and now they'll work for a field goal. Surely here, the Tigers. Galea takes it forward. If they lose this one, the Raiders, they have absolutely butchered it. 20 metres away. De Gois runs straight, wraps the football up. They've got to go early. Prince is going to the left-hand side. Maybe he's thinking a try because the Raiders will be expecting the field goal. He's now tackled 10 metres out from the line. They've still got 3 tackles up their sleeve. Now Payton out of acting half against his former club. He's only half a metre away. Prince goes back. He's 15 metres out, right in front of the post.
He's offside.
He's a mile offside. It was charged down, and now Mogga's come up with it. Well, Todd Carney...
Where's the penalty? Stephen Clark, hang your head in shame. I mean, Todd Carney was a mile offside then. Where's the penalty? Don't they want to penalise you in extra time?
He was at least 3 or 4 metres offside. He got up there. He was putting pressure on Prince before he even got the football. 20 metres out. And West Tigers fans can feel hard done by there. If not, if he was onside, Todd Carney, get ready for Beijing. We haven't had a bloke win 100 metres sprint before. You're a chance on that performance. And there he is, now playing at 5 short of halfway. Last tackle here for Canberra. Smith will get the kick away. Lawrence is back there. And it's on his own goal line. Mogg makes the tackle, and the youngster does well to hang on to the football. 10 out from his own line. McDonald, they can't afford an error here, the Tigers. Their players are still not back on side. You can see they're still struggling to get back. They're going to get half-time shortly in this first period of Golden Point. Fitzhenry out of acting half. Ball on the ground, picked up by Skandalis. And there's the siren. Half-time, it's still 18 all. And I must say that I believe Todd Carney was offside and the game should be over. 18 all though the score, the Tigers have to forget about it.
Well, I mean, I just can't believe the refereeing decision here. Have a look. He's taken off. He's 3 metres offside there. Now, when's the referee going to show some ticker and give a penalty in extra time? Sure, it means it's the game, but you're doing the right thing. It was a mile offside. Fortunately, the game is still on. The Tigers haven't been beaten yet, but I mean, I'll tell you what, that was a very ordinary decision there by the referee. Jason Smith, he's on the field, he's steadying down his troops. He realises that the Raiders are in this, and they win this game, they cement a place in the quarterfinals. The Tigers, they lose this game, that's it, their season's gone.
There's Tim Sheens. He must be thinking, to quote one of the great faux pas of all time, it's deja vu all over again, because the Tigers had a similar thing happen in the last game. Field goal blocked from an offside play from Canberra, and the Raiders went on to win the game. Now the Tigers have first used the football in the second half of Golden Point, and they can't afford to make an error or force a pass, but it's a good run there from Todd Payton, 20 out from his own line. Now Skandalis up to the 30. Here's Elford. Mogg with the tackle. They're 9 short of halfway. They're making easy meters here, the Tigers. Flanagan is on and almost thought about throwing the ball and a couple of metres short of halfway. Here's Galea out of acting half. Into open space. Schifofsky misses the tackle. Young is there. Last tackle, Prince must go. They're all offside. They're that far in front of him, it's not funny. He must penalise. He must penalise. Surely. He's playing advantage. He has to penalise. They're at least 5 metres in front. Get back into the field of play. It's going to be a goal line dropout. Well, they were 5 metres 5 players, Stephen Clark had to blow a penalty.
Well, once again, Stephen Clark, I don't know what's going through his head. I mean, they were a mile offside, as you pointed out, Mark. Fortunately, they'll get possession back here. Opportunity again to work it up. Have a look at them. 12 offside, a mile offside.
I thought he was playing advantage, and he most probably will claim that is an advantage. But how can it be when you would have penalised 10 metres out right in front? 3.5 to go. The Tigers are 30 metres out from the line. Sunday afternoon footy at Campbelltown. It doesn't get much better than this. Prince inside to Elford. They're 21 metres out. Will he go early, Prince, when the Raiders are onside? Flanagan tries to throw it out the back, and lucky for him it works. Now they've got numbers, although Frankie is closed down by Graham and also Keller. Prince is on the right-hand side of the ruck. Flanagan goes that way to Payton, who drops the football, and the Raiders have come up with it. Tills hit very solidly there by Dean Collis. Smith just taking the tackle. I know he offloads to Purtell, who bounces away from a couple and runs at LaFranchi, who makes the tackle. The Raiders will be happy with a point. Surely after what we've seen in this golden point, they should have been beaten. Smith throws the dummy.
Well, they're still looking to promote the football, still looking to go wide, the Raiders, still looking to win this match. They've got to do that with a little conservatism. They can't afford to make another error.
Sure. Out of back knee half, last tackle. Where's Carney? He's on the right-hand side. Chivosky will kick out of back knee half, though. It's not a great kick. McDonald will take it 30 out from his own line. And Tongue is down there to make the tackle again. He made a try-saver down the other end.
It's an outstanding game, Alan Tongue, both in attack and defence. In fact, the Raiders right across the board have been great in defence.
60 tackles for Alan Tongue. Unbelievable. Collis has beaten a couple there. Withers around the legs. He's almost asleep on his feet. Halfway line, they're on the Tigers. There's only 80 seconds or so to go. Prince may have to go early here. Tackle number 3. Here's Prince. They've got numbers here, the Tigers. Galea couldn't get it on the outside. It was 3-on-1. They're in position now. Prince wants to take it. He decides not to, maybe too far out. Back to Scandalis. Here's the last. He'll kick from about 35 if he wants it. It goes to Hallitown, not to Scotty Prince. He's 30 out. He strikes it. He doesn't have the direction or the length on the full no. The referee said he took it from the field of play to the in goal. Prince injured in back play. Chivosky returns it, and Smith is now tackled. Inside the final minute, the Raiders should be satisfied with a point, because the Tigers should have had 2 penalties in golden point that would have won them the game, and Stephen Clark kept the whistle away. Thompson, 5 metres out. The Raiders out of acting half. Chivosky, can they steal it? Can someone steal it? And I mean steal it for Canberra. Carney's going to try from 40 out. It's low, flat. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They have stolen this, the Canberra Raiders, and they don't deserve it. Todd Carney has dead set stolen it. That is the most remarkable finish of a game of rugby league you will ever see. Todd Carney has kicked an absolute shocking field goal and won a game the Canberra Raiders should never have won.
Well, they've been on the ropes for much of the game, the Raiders, and Todd Carney for the second time this season has popped one over from long range to win the Raiders the game. As you mentioned, Mark, they didn't deserve it, given the fact that there were 2 occasions they should have been penalised in extra time, but they've hung in there, they've been like a boxer on the ropes, and there he is, Todd Carney, the match winner again, a young kid with a huge future, and well, he's just about put the Raiders into the qualifying finals for 2006.
Well, what a game of rugby league. 19 points to 18. Tongue, Graham, Mob tries. Chivosky 3 from 3. And the match winner for Todd Carney in the final seconds of the second half of Golden Point. for the Tigers. Heinton, Fitzhenry and Prince tries. Prince 3 from 4. At half-time it was 12 all. Full-time it was 18 all. And then in Golden Point, Carney wins the game for the Canberra Raiders. A most controversial finish in the final game for John Skandalis at the Campbelltown Sports Ground. Todd Carney has won it for the Raiders, but we will be talking about this game for many days to come. What a game of rugby league. On behalf of Wayne Pearce and the crew, I'm Mark Braybrook. It's goodbye from Campbelltown.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.
A lot can happen in a weekend of footy. Look at that